Shutters, custom blind shades and shutters. 100,000 five-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com. In Shorewood, Route 59 between Seal and Jefferson shut down because of downed power lines and trees. Wheatfield, Indiana, north and southbound State Road 49 shut down. Both directions, down power lines. Bartlett, both North Avenue, both east and westbound between Western and Oak Avenue in Bartlett, all closed due to down power lines. I-80 this morning, bad accident, rollover semi, center median. Eastbounders are tied up between Pulaski and Kedzie. And a reminder, I-55 northbound and southbound shut down near North River Road due to down power lines over both directions of I-55 this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast in the AM 560 Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
More clouds than sun, humid. The high today 86, partly cloudy, humid tonight, and the low 68. Some sun, breezy day tomorrow, the high 79. Breezy Thursday morning, and sunny and pleasant, the high at 75. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Bit cooler right now, 69 at O'Hare, cloudy and 71 at Midway. Your next news update, 5:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and health care, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com, and listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
When you're in chronic pain, you're miserable to be around, and so are the people who have to watch you suffer. So stop it. Do something about it. Now's the time to be proactive and take care of yourself. And there's another solution other than surgery or drugs. Call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, they have a cutting-edge treatment that revitalizes your joints with your body's own healing process. So if you have arthritis or if you're in pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back due to an injury, you need to call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation and get your life and mobility back. You know, I've been to one of their clinics. I met a few of their customers. They were smiling from ear to ear, so happy to have their mobility back, pain-free, without surgery. They have locations all across the Chicagoland area, including new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Call for a free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
This is Dennis Prager. Now you can listen to my show when it's convenient for you and without censorship from big tech. Become a member of the ultimate online community for all things Prager. It's Pragertopia Unlimited. Listen to every radio show over the last 10 years, all commercial free. You can even listen to all my Torah teachings for free. Join today and save 25% off the first year and get a free Pragertopia coffee mug. Go to Pragertopia.com or click the banner at DennisPrager.com.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Ugh, me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye eye diseases such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's spectrios.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
If it's time for a new roof, your siding's looking old, you need new windows, gutters, or a reliable restoration company, trust me, AAA Roofing Contractors is who to call. They're the real deal. And speaking of deals, AAA offers a wide range of discounts, including military and healthcare provider discounts. And due to the recent storm, AAA Roofing Contractors is giving out free inspections in your neighborhood. The storm may have caused a lot of damage to your property, so please don't hesitate to reach out. AAA Roofing Contractors specializes specifically in insurance restoration claims. They're here to help you every step of the way so you get what you deserve. They value every shingle customer. In fact, they make sure clients are 100% satisfied. Schedule a free home improvement consultation now. Call 847-730-4026 or book online at arcroofinginc.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows. Family-owned AAA does it all and does it right and are insurance specialists. That's 847-730-4026. arcroofinginc.com.
As a local business owner, you get called every week by marketing companies. We get it. We have hundreds of satisfied customers. Here's what a satisfied client recently said.
Open enrollment is going great. We're hitting record numbers. Thank you so much for this report. It really is amazing to see how the marketing is really shaping our enrollment around the city.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, visit surroundchicago.com right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Visit surroundchicago.com today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Being active is important to me. As you get older, it gets a little harder every year. But if I had to get rid of all my other supplements, the one thing that I would continue to take in my life is Balance of Nature.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for a little over a year. It is important to have fruits and vegetables, and how convenient you got them in a capsule. Who doesn't love that? I'm going to continue to take it. Why stop something that makes you feel good?
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. This week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So J.D. Vance is the selection. Not a particularly big surprise. I mean, he was sort of the rumored front runner for some time, and then North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum crept in there, becoming sort of a ubiquitous surrogate for Trump. J.D. Vance is the selection, as everybody knows by now. I thought the reactions were generally positive, although there were some people that still a little sore at J.D. Vance for his dalliance with being a never-Trumper. For example, one of the things that J.D. Vance said that the Wall Street Journal reminded us of. The great tragedy is that many of the problems Trump identifies are real, and so many of the hurts he exploits demand serious, thought-measured action from governments, yes, but also from community leaders and individuals. Yet as long as people rely on that quick high, the nation delays a necessary reckoning. Trump is cultural heroin. He makes some people feel better for it, but he cannot fix what ails them, and one day they'll realize that. Cultural heroin. Boy, J.D. Vance has done a 180 in the intervening time from those statements to becoming a U.S. Senator to becoming Trump's running mate, hasn't he? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Here's how Wisconsin Governor Ron Johnson, colleague of his, assessed the selection at the RNC last night.
So first of all, I hate to lose him as a colleague. He brings intelligence. He brings integrity. He's articulate. He's got a great story. And, from my standpoint, it just kind of solidifies where I think our politics has shifted. The Republican Party has become the party that represents working-class Americans, people who work hard, they want to play by the rules, and they're struggling right now. And so I think he's a great choice. Again, I hate to lose him in the Senate, but President Trump, I think, really had a wealth of talent to pick from. I think he chose well.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I just don't know how you go from a strong anti-Trumper to being a MAGA enthusiast. I mean, Vance called him a total fraud once, a moral disaster, and America's Hitler.
Yeah, America's Hitler was
not good.
MSNBC quality, although cultural heroin is not far behind. For some people, Trump is an acquired taste. In fact, we saw that last night on the first night of the RNC, didn't we? With speeches from model, actress, person, Amber Rose, as well as for the first time in the history of the RNC, the president of the Teamsters addressing the Republican National Convention, Sean O'Brien.
Yeah.
So
that was fun.
So, in part, let's remember that politics is not about making friends. It's about aligning interests. And that's perhaps what happened with J.D. Vance when he decided that his interest was being a U.S. Senator from Ohio, and aligning that interest with Trump advanced his interest in being a U.S. Senator from Ohio, considering Trump's popularity there, carrying that state twice, really going away. It's not even a swing state anymore, Ohio. There's no question J.D. Vance is sharp. There's no question that his personal story is compelling.
Oh, harrowing. Grew up in a trailer with his single mom and made something of himself.
The Hillbilly Elegy.
Hillbilly
We've
Elegy.
read the book. We've seen the movie. I'm sure Hollywood regrets platforming that book into a movie now. But anyway, it's okay to have some pause for concern. It's okay to be skeptical until people prove up. I mean, you could say he's proven up as a senator, and he'll prove up, I'm sure, as Trump's running mate in the next few months, and then ostensibly as vice president. But it's okay to have concerns that when somebody does as much of an about face as J.D. Vance does. Now, that's being said, there are a lot of attributes there. People do change their minds. I mentioned two examples last night that were on stage, and so we shall see. But the question was, does Trump make a pick for the moment, or does he make a legacy pick? Well, he obviously made a legacy pick.
Yeah, and as a coach, if you want to, start your bench, if you want to get young players, this is the best choice that he could have made. And you know how he found out? Secret Service came to his house. And then 30 minutes before Trump posted it on True Social, Trump called him and told him he was the one.
Speaking of those who were platformed last night on the RNC, Amber Rose, I mentioned, I thought that was a pretty interesting offering she gave, and I think this is where a lot of people are. What happened on Saturday makes it that much more easy for some people to get there. And by get there, I mean I was previously uncomfortable with Trump, maybe even antagonistic towards him. And you have to get me to a comfort level to vote for Trump. I'm sort of done with Biden, but I am not fully embracing Trump. So get me to comfort level with Trump, and you have my vote. And I think Amber Rose served that Trump campaign interest yesterday.
But I'm here tonight to tell you, no matter your political background, that the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump President of the United States. Now, you may be wondering why I'm up here telling you this. I'm no politician, and I don't want to be. But I do care about the truth. And the truth is that the media has lied to us about Donald Trump. I know this because for a long time I believed those lies. So I'm here to set the record straight. The first person I knew who supported Donald Trump was my father. I was shocked. My entire family is racially diverse. And I believed the left-wing propaganda that Donald Trump was a racist. My father said, "No, he's not, Amber. What are you talking about?" And when I insisted, he said, "Prove it." So to prove my father wrong, I did my research and looked into all things Donald Trump. People have to do their research. I watched all the rallies, and I started meeting so many of you, his red hat wearing supporters. I realized Donald Trump and his supporters don't care if you're black, white, gay, or straight. It's all love. And that's when it hit me. These are my people. This is where I belong. So I let go of my fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, of getting attacked by the left, and I put the red hat on too.
That's the thing. Let go of the fear of judgment, being attacked. I got comfortable. I got to comfort level with Trump.
Good for her.
Jay in Lake Geneva, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I'm real disappointed about J.D. Vance, and I hope that you and all your colleagues up and down this dial, I doubt you will tell us about J.D. Vance and his ties with Peter Thiel and other people. And why was he really chosen? This is just weird. Tulsi Gabbard would have helped unite America. She would have brought something to the table that Donald Trump doesn't have. I really think a woman or someone of a minority racial status, which is changing all the time, would have helped the ticket. This was just stupid. I hate to say it. Scaramucci was right. He's an idiot. But he said that Trump would not choose anybody that could outshine him. So he was right. Sad. Charlie Kirk called it. So, okay, here we are. Good luck.
Thanks for that.
I'm glad he didn't play gender politics.
There's a bit of a word salad there from Jay and Lake Geneva. Charlie Kirk called. I mean, who a lot of people called J.D. Vance. He was the favorite. This is not a surprise. Number one. Number two. Yes, I agree exactly. We're going to out identity politics the left. We decry identity politics. Oh well, we have to have a woman. We have to have a minority. So we should do a DEI hire like the incumbent president did. Not saying that Tulsi Gabbard is such a person, but Tulsi Gabbard is a socialist. I hate to break it to you. That makes no sense. Tulsi Gabbard is not an extension of, she's an extension of America First in some respects, but not in many others. And if you think Trump is far afield with some of his views on economics from traditional conservatism, sort of, paleo conservatism, if you will, then Tulsi Gabbard is in a different galaxy. So in terms of like telling people about J.D. Vance, what Yeah, he worked for Thiel's venture capital firm. He was a Marine. He was in venture capital, made a little bit of cash, wrote a best-selling book, got optioned for a screenplay, made a little bit of cash, ran for Senate in Ohio, won, married, 3 kids. What do you want to know? What's the secret about J.D. Vance? There is none.
And I don't grow the bench. That's the way to do it.
And by the way, he ran for Senate in Ohio in a competitive race against Tim Ryan, so he's also been vetted. But okay, you keep howling at the identitarian moon as the best play for the Republican Party to make. I differ.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 5:38, more highlights from day one of the RNC, including that other relatively remarkable speech. Teamster boss Sean O'Brien addresses the convention, 5:38.
Is he done fighting Oklahoma Senator Mullen yet?
Right.
And then also the moment that brought everybody to tears when Trump emerged victoriously, and he is very humble. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
560 The Answer. Donald Trump making his first public appearance since being injured in an assassination attempt on Saturday. Trump entering the RNC yesterday in widespread applause, sporting a bandage on his ear. Trump Monday officially securing the GOP nomination for president and announcing Ohio's Senator J.D. Vance will be his running mate.
They can't run on the issue of, is the world more peaceful than it was 4 years ago? Remember when Donald Trump left office, you had real growing peace movements all over the world.
Vance with Hannity last night. International Brotherhood of Teamsters President Sean O'Brien speaking at the RNC in Milwaukee, saying the Teamsters will work with a bipartisan coalition, and explains why they will do so.
Today, the Teamsters are here to say we are not beholden to anyone or any party.
International Brotherhood of Teamsters President Sean O'Brien. President Biden sat down for an exclusive interview with NBC's Lester Holt yesterday, where he discussed and took accountability for saying, quote, "It's time to put Trump in the bullseye," end quote. The remark came before former President Trump was shot in an assassination attempt.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate.
President Biden calling the former President Trump after the incident at that rally to express his concern. There is still debate and deliberation in New Jersey Senator Democrat Bob Menendez's federal corruption trial. Jurors sent a couple of notes Monday to the judge. Texas Governor Greg Abbott stepping up his pressure on CenterPoint Energy, botching the Hurricane Beryl recovery effort around Houston.
If CenterPoint does not comply with my request, I will be issuing an executive order imposing what I think are the appropriate standards.
Today, Governor Greg Abbott will threaten to go to the Public Utility Commission to get the state to have CenterPoint repay for their own recovery work. And cleanup crews are busy here this morning after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area last night. Tornadoes reported at both O'Hare and Midway airports, perhaps the first time that has ever happened. And this morning, around 240,000 ComEd customers are without power. One person was killed when the storm sent a tree onto a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Indiana State Police not confirming an identity. Chicago sports found the Cubs adding to their organization in day 2 of the Major League Baseball draft, 8 bats, 2 pitchers, while the White Sox chose Arizona State outfield prospect Nick McLean in the 3rd round. The Bulls will try to get back in the win column when they take on the Pistons. It's a Summer League game set for tonight in Vegas. The news service of Health Insurance Mentors. Call Stephen Tucker today for free Medicare advice. Visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. 630-674-1551, healthinsurancementors.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This week, the eyes of the nation will turn to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. At AM 560, The Answer will provide gavel-to-gavel coverage each night, beginning at 7 p.m., presented by 120 Life. Hear all of the speeches, and then instant analysis from AM 560's Bruce DeMont, Jeannie Ives, and John Anthony. And they'll be taking your calls with your reaction. Don't miss a moment as the Republicans officially nominate Donald Trump right here on your election station. AM 560, The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com for Town Hall. Imagine having the courage to stand back up after an assassin shot you on stage, rather than the rational impulse to remain in cover. And not just stand up, but also having the courage to rally the crowd to fight, as Donald Trump did while under fire. No one, not even Trump's worst critics, can possibly deny his physical and mental courage in that moment just after he barely missed having his head blown off. The next day, Trump called on Americans to fear not while crediting God with his escape from death. It recalled FDR's exhortation that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. This is what this moment demands of us, too. Do we hug the ground when confronted with evil and wickedness? Do we panic into blind retaliation? Or do we do as Trump did, stand firm, raise our fist, and pledge to fight it? That moment could well define our character, both individually and as a nation. Let's stand up and fight. I'm Ed Morrissey.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Ugh, me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
5:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Turnkey.pro for less than the price of a monthly car payment. Turnkey will fully protect your network with up-to-date cyber protection, unlimited backup, unlimited 24/7 help desk support, and real-time threat hunting. Protect your small business today, Turnkey.pro. I-80, rollover semi. The semi went off I-80 and actually landed on Kenzie Avenue. It's really backing up eastbound on I-80 this morning between Cicero and Kedzie. We'll keep our eye on that. And I-55 entirely shut down. Solid traffic from Lorenzo Road to between North River Road and US 6. Wires down northbound and on the southbound side between US 6 and North River Road. Again, that's I-55 in Will County shut down this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Humid with more clouds and sun. High near 87 today. Partly cloudy and humid 68. Tomorrow should be beautiful. Breezy, sunshine, high near 80. Partly cloudy and 69 at O'Hare. Clouds and 70 at Midway. Your next news update is at 6, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So we're talking about day one of the RNC. It's been quite the eventful 48 hours, I'd say, from an assassination attempt to vice presidential selection being revealed to the classified docs case being dismissed. We'll talk about that with Vance at the top of the 6 o'clock hour.
Yeah, it's been a good 48 hours. And yesterday, President Trump, or former President Trump, when he entered the RNC to Lee Greenwald's, and I'm proud to be an American. I don't know about any of you out there, but I could not stop crying. And I think Trump was crying too, and Donald Trump Jr. Trump seems so appreciative to be alive. He seems so appreciative to his supporters and to his family. And I really think he has a new outlook on life. I mean, did you see it? I watched it twice because it was so electrifying. Yeah. And I'm not alone. I know I don't know how you feel about Chris Wallace, but he has seen many conventions.
Winston Churchill famously said, "Nothing in life is so exhilarating as to be shot at without effect." And you could see that today. The idea that just hours ago, a few days ago, this man, an assassin's bullet whizzed by him, hit him in the ear, inches from his temple. It'd be just by the slightest fraction of an inch. He survived, shot at without effect, and you can see the joy of this crowd. I got to tell you, as somebody who's been covering these conventions since 1964, that may have been the most electric moment I ever saw. That was quite extraordinary.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have you knew he had to be there on Monday, and not just to receive his vice presidential nominee, but because people want to see him after that near miss on Saturday. Oh, and by the way, by the way, he didn't get shot on Saturday.
Oh wait, what are you talking about? Was it a shard of glass or?
No, the New York Times reporting about Secret Service overlapping investigations will focus on the decisions the protection agency made before and immediately after bullets nearly hit former President Trump directly.
A chunk of his ear is missing.
So you're getting grazed by a bullet that takes out a chunk of your ear is being nearly shot. You can expect BLM Brandon to adopt nearly shot as a new category of crime stats, because that will reduce the number of Chicagoans actually shot on his watch.
Oh, my God. They just can't accept anything.
So nearly shot is what happened to Trump on Saturday. That's according to the New York Times, the gray lady, the paper of record. I'm just here to report what our betters in the media have to say.
I mean, does he have to take the patch out of his ear to show them what happened, the damage done?
Well, it was I mean, it's just an unprecedented moment.
Yeah,
so
it was beautiful.
It was incredible. The other thing too is, the President of the United States, or former President of the United States, future President of the United States, nearly assassinated, and you have the D.C. press corps trying to sort of make this just part of the political news cycle. They're really trying to take the edges off this, and in terms of its importance, how incomprehensible this should be to America. And yeah, I mean, okay, Chris Wallace, fine, I appreciate it, but the general reporting from the D.C. press corps and commentary is all to sort of talk about the political impact, so that you don't have to appreciate and think about the historical moment that was, the terrible commentary it is on where we as a nation stand at present. This is not part of the normal political cycle. This is, yes, you discuss the political implications. There's a heated presidential race going on. But, I mean, you have to step outside of this a little bit and think about what we're discussing. I mean, this idea that this country is trending toward the developing world is a line that's bandied about a lot, but there's an unfortunate and growing body of evidence to suggest exactly that, and maybe we want to take stock of this. Bob in Buffalo Grove, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan and Amy, thanks for taking my call. Don't forget that Trump was responsible for this shooting. I mean, I heard again replay of the Stephanopoulos Raddatz interview, and Trump's rhetoric is just terrible and instigated all this outrage. So we got to take a look at Trump's involvement in his own troubles with regards to his rhetoric, ignoring what somebody else said.
That's right. Well, this is why I made the point yesterday about getting past some of the relatively pedestrian, if bellicose, political rhetoric and trying to play that game, because you're playing right into the D.C. press corps' hands to first of all minimize what occurred, and second of all, misdirect away from the conversation we should be having about political violence. This was Axios to Bob from Buffalo Grosse Pointe. Axios wrote this. He could unify America. Imagine if he gave a speech featuring something he rarely shows, humility. Imagine him telling the nation that he has been too rough, too loose, too combative with his language, and now realizes words can have consequences, and promises to tone it down and bring new voices into the White House if he wins.
No, I don't want that kind of Trump. There's no COVID amnesty, and there's no Democratic amnesty.
Well, but I mean, what Axios is saying here, as Bob is saying, he's responsible. He did it to himself. He's responsible for getting nearly, New York Times, nearly shot because he used combative language sometimes at rallies and so forth. So now it's up to him. He has to, and this is what you heard all day yesterday, too, again, trying to cheapen what happened, trying to make this part of the political cycle. In advance of the Lester Holt interview with Biden, Jen Psaki, we know Trump can't be the unifying figure. The humility he won't display, the responsibility he won't take for being nearly shot, according to the New York Times. But Biden must be the healer. Biden is the healer.
Carol said the question is, how long does this moment last? And how do you think he sees his role right now?
I mean, I think his role, I'm betting that how he responded was as a human being, which is how we just saw Lindsey Graham at moments during that interview, and Senator Sanders and Senator Coons respond. That's how everybody should be responding. For anyone out there who has a platform, who thinks the moment right now is to be political and attack the other party, you are feeding into the danger. You are making it more likely there's retaliation. I'm incredibly scared. I'm scared for journalists. I'm scared for people who have public platforms of all parties, and that's how people should feel. So for President Biden, I mean, Senator Coons mentioned he was in church. He's somebody who's very prayerful. He is somebody who attends church. I think he probably is relying on that. And in this moment, I think his instinct would be not to be political. And you just take it day by day. That's where he would be. I mean, he has a huge interview tomorrow, and the moment there is not to talk about the political path forward. It is to be a healer and to lower the rhetoric and the tenor in the conversation in the country.
General Secretary Joe is the healer. Journalists, people with public platforms are scared. They should be scared. Why should we be scared?
Scared of what?
This is
scared of Trump winning, and then he's going to put you in camps. There's another rumor out there.
The sophistry of it all. Yes. This isn't political, right? While Axios, imagine if he did this and took responsibility for getting shot and so on and so forth. But this isn't political. No, this is not the time to make it political. That's what the left keeps saying. They're not going to make it political. The way that you don't make it political is by making it political.
Right. We believe it's important to continue to forcefully speak against any type of political violence. That is what the president believes. And we do not want to politicize this moment.
No.
Politicizing this moment is unacceptable. We believe, and the president believes, you heard from him, in a very clear statement last night about the importance of uniting this country, the importance of continuing to do so, and that we cannot tear America apart to score political points. We cannot do that. So we don't want to politicize this moment.
Nope.
We want to unite. We want to continue to focus on that, and that's what the president's going to focus on.
Not going to politicize it. Can't do that. Can't tear this country apart. We can't go around calling Trump voters threats to democracy. We can't do that. That's scoring political points. We can't.
Even though that's their whole campaign against Trump.
We can't both sides the issue. We can't do that.
But have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real?
There you go. Bingo.
When the president says things like he says, do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I have not engaged in that rhetoric. Now,
No. Because the left is not being political. That's what they want you to know, and you know how you know that is because they're telling you.
Yeah, and that's the guy that was, going to bring civility back to the White House, and they found a bag of coke, and then two guys were having sex with a ball gag in the Senate chamber floor. That administration.
Mike, Southside.
Going well.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You guys are just awesome. Thank you for everything you do. But I agree. There's no reason to politicize it for them because there's no upside. However, what they are doing is basically blaming the girl for her skirt being too short, and it's no different than let's blame Donald because he said something we didn't like, and somebody went ahead and did something to him. It's ridiculous. That's where they're at right now. They're blaming the victim for wearing or doing. It's insane.
They are. They're moving very quickly from both sides do it to this is mainly a Trump problem.
Yep. He brought it upon himself.
He is the main purveyor of political violence. Those are the exact words of Joy Reid, for example, on MSNBC. MSNBC not afraid to put Joy Reid on the desk last night, even though they're afraid to put Morning Joe on television because they don't trust their own host to not advance the flag of Trump even more than they have with their unhinged tantrums on a daily basis. What a commentary that is.
Can you imagine?
What a commentary that is. I don't trust you to behave like an adult in the wake of a failed assassination attempt on a former president. I don't trust you to handle that. You're our morning show on this alleged news network. What a commentary that is.
I mean, can you imagine? Because the executive producer had to call Joe and Mika and say, you guys got to sit this one out because we don't trust you.
Len in Highland Park.
Well, not only did Morning Joe get the day off yesterday, Stephanie Miller up the dial at 8:20 did too, but I listened, and whoever was whoever took over as host made the comment that she was upset by Trump's shooting because it took away the attention that Richard Simmons should have got for his passing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, or Dr. Ruth or Shannon Doherty. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with. And by the way, I was never a Trump fan till I caddied at Aaron Hill's. Caddies know more about celebrities than anybody. You work with them for 4 hours, you get an insight to what they're like. And my best friend up at Aaron Hill's was Trump's regular caddy down in Florida in the winter. And, I like everyone else, he's talking about running for president at the time, for the first time. And I, like everyone else, had this image of, this ogre who's racist. And he goes, it's the farthest thing from the truth. He is the greatest guy I've ever caddied for. He's got a sense of humor. The guy can play, but he's nothing like what they portray him. And, and I became a fan after the Hillary debates. And it just, the 8:20, I listen to it just because I like to hear mentally ill people talk. But,
yes, I understand. Well, you get that caddying too. Thanks for the call, Len. That's what Amber Rose said yesterday too. I had to get deprogrammed. I had to get past the propagandists on MSNBC and CNN and all the heads of all our cultural institutions and actually dig in a little bit, and I found that what they're saying about Trump and his supporters is untrue.
But back to Mika and Morning Joe, can you imagine here if management came in and said, we don't trust you guys and you're going to have to take tomorrow off because we don't think you can handle a real-life situation?
Roger in DeKalb.
Hey, great to talk to you guys. So remember how for 20 years the neocons, the never-Trumpers now, complained that we didn't have somebody that would push back against the progressive rhetoric that, we're racist, we're misogynist, we're the old people killers because we didn't believe in their ideals. Well, we finally got one, and they all abandoned him. But the rest of us can see through it, and it's like, no way. He didn't start any of this, just talk about killing people stuff. Holy smokes, what a lie. Thanks very much.
Thanks for the call, Roger. Gabby Schaumburg.
Hi, good morning, guys. I think it's funny that the people that say dumb shit every day and get paid for it are so offended by people that say dumb things in Trump. I apologize for my language. We went to a concert venue Saturday after hearing the news about Trump being shot, and you start chatter as you're walking to the venue with people next to us. Hey, did you hear the president got shot? Oh, my God, Biden, no, former President Trump got shot. Her comment to me, well-dressed woman, and her husband said, well, he deserves it because he talks stupid all the time. Mm-hmm. And I said, that's your logic? I said, Biden, he talks stupid all the time too, but he doesn't deserve a bullet in the head.
That was,
and she went.
And that was which state legislator that said that?
Have a nice day.
I have former Gabby. Colleagues on Facebook saying, karma's a biatch.
It's
you're like, oh, okay, well, an innocent man died who was a Marine and a firefighter and a lovely father, too. Died protecting his family.
Yes,
is that okay?
It's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault.
Okay, yeah.
Trump's fault. This was, just more of the thing, though, is, and Amber Roser highlights this, it's something else, too. Somebody sent me, and I posted it, a mural on a building on 70th and Halstead in the city, that's Inglewood, of Trump. It's very well done. There's some undiscovered artists on the South Side. Very well done. It's Trump, and then the bubble quote is CIA missed me. So I mean, is Inglewood becoming MAGA country for real? Unlike Streeterville, is it for real becoming MAGA country? I
think so.
I don't know. I don't know, but it's weird, and I think it's becoming a lot less cool to do these things like Jack Black did with his bandmate for Tenacious D. Who goes to these concerts, by the way? Have you no taste? Jack Black celebrating the birthday of his bandmate, and this is how that went over the weekend at their concert.
Happy birthday, make a wish, Canada. Don't miss Trump next time.
Oh, yeah, that's real funny.
Thank you.
Don't miss Trump next time. Right, which was you saw from government officials and state legislators from around the country and, all the people that can't help themselves. They basically have no impulse control like Morning Joe doesn't and had to take to social media to highlight their ignorance.
It's sick. All right, coming up on Chicago, or do you want to take?
At 6:06, we'll talk to Heritage Foundation attorney Hans Van Spakowski about, the dismissal of the classified docs case against Trump and the defenestration of Special Prosecutor Jack Smith, as well as the SAFE Act that only 5 Democrats could muster the courage to vote for last week in the House. We'll tackle it all with Hans Van Spakowski from the Heritage Foundation, 6:06.
But first, let's stop by the newsroom, say good morning to Mike Scott.
Tornadoes and severe storms sweep through the Chicago area. 2 men charged in a deadly shooting in a Waukegan Metro parking lot. Madigan's lawyers call for changes and charges to be dismissed. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
He got a big ovation. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Please welcome Donald J. Trump.
That ovation then turned into chants of USA.
It was an emotional first day at the Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee. Tens of thousands of attendees warmly welcomed former President Trump, cheering him on less than 2 days after he was nearly assassinated. Trump was formally nominated as the 2024 Republican nominee earlier in the day.
That's Fox's Brooke Sigmund, and the former president with a bandaged right ear stood side by side with his running mate last night. And Fox's Kristen Goodwin reports from Milwaukee.
Senator J.D. Vance telling Fox News' Sean Hannity the former president called him earlier on Monday to break the news, calling it a moment he'll never forget.
He just said, look, I think we've got to go save this country. I think you're the guy who can help me in the best way. You can help me govern. You can help me win.
Addressing being critical of the former president, then presidential candidate in 2016.
I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans.
Now, President Biden calls Vance a Trump clone, and in an NBC News interview, he defended a remark before the assassination attempt that we need to put the former president in a bullseye, but he called it a mistake.
The truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Now, the president again called his rival a threat to democracy. The head of Homeland Security calls the assassination attempt a security failure. And today, some House lawmakers will get a Secret Service briefing before a hearing Monday. GOP Congressman Nancy Mace tells Fox police were alerted there was a suspicious person on the top of the building at the rally.
How is this even possible? We've all seen the interviews of citizens on the ground, rally goers who saw it, reported it, and it seemed like nothing happened or didn't happen fast enough.
As police are still trying to figure out the gunman's motive. America's listening to Fox News.
69 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Cleanup crews busy this morning after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area. Tornadoes reported at both O'Hare and Midway airports. As of this morning, about 228,000 ComEd customers are without power. And one person was killed when storms sent a tree onto a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling remains confident about the security planning for next month's Democratic National Convention following the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania.
We want to make sure that we're protecting everything, all of the venues that we can protect, but we also want to make sure that we keep the city safe as a whole.
Snelling adding he's been in contact with counterparts in Milwaukee, seeking advice from those working at the Republican National Convention. At that convention, earlier on Monday, Illinois Republicans met for breakfast and rallied around Donald Trump, led by Representative Mike Boss.
We're handling this job, which is so vitally important, not only to the nation, but to the world, is in the hands of a person who is aging and aging very rapidly. The President, Joe Biden, looked like my dad did 3 years before he passed.
The meeting sought to unite moderate and MAGA Republicans throughout the state. 2 men are charged in a deadly shooting last week in the Waukegan Metra parking lot. Alan Green and Keonda Triplett face weapons charges in the shooting death of Xavier Booker on July 7. Teoscar Hernandez is your Major League Baseball Home Run Derby champion, outslugging Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr., while the Bulls try to get back in the win column when they take on the Pistons in a Summer League contest tonight. The news is a service of Remke's Garage. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's. The shop at Remke's is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Visit Remke's Garage. That's REMKES Garage.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees good things.
The reality is they're losing control of the nation and your capacity to swallow the garbage they're trying to promote. It's a good thing, but only if you get engaged. Because in 4 months' time, if not you, then who? If not now, then when?
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, their great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now to start saving now on your cell phone plan. NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who's just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
It's Dr. David Kolbaba.
Hey guys, it's not enough to manipulate your testosterone by getting those shots. Did you ever stop to ask, why is my testosterone level so low anyway? Well, if you're a Y guy like me, I've got something for you to think about. Hormone levels get skewed not with age. Hormones get skewed by poor lifestyle habits. Our male hormone test can help us find the why behind your male hormone challenges. So give us a call and get your male hormone test today. Pumping hormones into your bloodstream is not the answer, not without the many health risks associated. Stop tampering with your hormones, because if you don't, you'll probably live long enough to regret it. So from one Y guy to another Y guy, let's get her done the right way, the only way, taking more natural steps towards healthy hormone balance and performance today. It's our male hormone test. No blood, just spit. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. It's Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11.
6:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation. Blue Stars Security LLC.com. On the Kennedy right now, 31 and climbing O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. I-55 remains shut down near Lorenzo Road due to wires down across both northbound and southbound I-55. Dan Ryan Express lanes inbound between the Skyway and 63rd. Report of an accident this morning. And cleanup on I-80 eastbound between I-57 and Kedzie. A semi rolled off the roadway and actually landed down on Kedzie. On the roadway, I-80, there is a left lane blocked. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
It'll be humid today, more clouds than sun. The high today 86. Partly cloudy, humid night tonight, low 68. Some sun, breezy day tomorrow, the high at 79. And then mostly sunny, breezy on Thursday, the high at 75. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Partly cloudy and 69 at O'Hare, 70 at Midway. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I got to say, our friend Julie Kelly was on, and she was predicting for a while now, watching this classified docs case, that Judge Eileen Cannon was going to dismiss it after going through the requisite process and giving the prosecution the attempt to make out its case. She did more than that, though. She defenestrated Jack Smith and the special counsel, the appointment of special counsel. Is there a statute in the United States that authorizes the appointment of special counsel Smith to conduct this prosecution? No, there isn't. And she's right. And of course, Clarence Thomas telegraphed this in his concurrence in the immunity case, pointing out that the appointments clause was a reaction of the founders to the experience with the British monarchy. Among the grievances lodged against old King George III was that he, quote, erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. Hey, they're doing that now, too. So if Congress wants to create a special counsel and give an attorney general power to appoint him, it can do so, but it hasn't. Former Attorney General Attorneys General Ed Meese and Michael Mukasey, in an amicus brief, made the argument that the question of Smith is rooted in the appointments clause, and it empowers the president to name officers of the United States to positions established by law and subject them to the advice and consent of the Senate. But Jack Smith was not subjected to the advice and consent of the Senate, as some senators mentioned as well. So that case is dismissed, and the special counsel, at least at this district court level, is no longer. Certainly that will have some precedential value, and good, because I think we're all a little tired of special counsels running amok with the sort of facade of being answerable to Congress while they're operating independent of the Department of Justice, and attorneys generals just sit there dithering and saying, well, I have to let the investigation go where it's going to go. It's sort of like I can't tell you anything because it's an ongoing investigation cover line. Of course, Joe Biden, noted legal scholar, graduate of the Brent Musburger School of Law at Syracuse. He's not surprised by this because he was conferring with the smartest man he knows, Yale law grad Hunter Biden, baby boy Biden. Not surprised.
I'm not surprised. It comes from the immunity decision the Supreme Court ruled on, and Clarence Thomas, in his dissent, said that independent prosecutors appointed by the Attorney General aren't legit. That's the basis on which this judge moved to dismiss. And but I had an independent prosecutor look at me. They spent months on my going through, and I was totally cooperative. In and out of my house. There were, I don't know, the last time in, there were like 10, 12 agents in my house for 9 hours unaccompanied, going through every single thing I had. That's appropriate. And they looked at me and concluded I didn't do a damn thing wrong. But my generic point is that it's...
I forgot what my generic point is.
The basis upon which the case was thrown out, I find specious, because I don't agree with Clarence Thomas' dissent and or the Supreme Court decision on immunity.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Trump's house was raided and Biden's house was searched. And Trump responded yesterday on Truth Social, and he said this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts.
Well, that's not going to happen. But it's good that this happened. It's appropriate. And just a point of order, Mr. President. Yes. Robert Hur didn't find that you did nothing wrong. He, in fact, intimated just the opposite. I'm not going to prosecute him because he's effectively, he said, he's mentally unfit to stand trial, or he's a congenial old man that means well, and I don't think I could convict him. That's not the same thing as saying he didn't think you did anything wrong. He's saying, I don't think I can secure a conviction for these reasons, which is debatable too. But that's not what Robert Hur said, how Joe Biden characterized it. Of course not. But but that's expected at this point. Hans von Spakowski is a senior legal fellow for the Heritage Foundation, former FEC commissioner, former lawyer for the aforementioned Department of Justice as well, and author of Our Broken Elections, How the Left Changed the Way You Vote. Hans, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks. I'm not sure you need me. You just did a great analysis of that decision by Judge Cannon. I have to say, though, that listening to Biden's supposed analysis of it, if he had written that in an essay in a class I was teaching in law school, I'd have given him an F, because he clearly didn't understand or didn't want to understand the basis of the decision, which is on solid constitutional ground.
Well, right. I mean, but this is what the left does, including those that pretend to be legal scholars. I don't like Clarence Thomas. Somebody told me that Eileen Cannon is basing her decision on what Clarence Thomas said in an opinion. So I disagree with Clarence Thomas about that, because I disagree with Clarence Thomas about everything just as a matter of principle. That's basically what he's arguing.
Yeah, and that's just totally wrong. What Clarence Thomas said in that Supreme Court decision was that this is an important issue, the constitutionality of special counsels, and that at some point the Supreme Court would have to consider it. That is not what Judge Cannon based her decision on. She wrote a 93-page opinion in which she goes through a detailed analysis of the Constitution, its history, and prior precedent. And what she basically concluded, and I just don't see how you can disagree with it, is that, look, officers of the United States have to be nominated by a president and confirmed by the U.S. Senate. And Jack Smith was given as much power as a U.S. attorney. In fact, he was given more power than a U.S. attorney, because U.S. attorneys, when they prosecute cases, as you know, for example, in Illinois, their jurisdiction is limited to that state.
Right.
And yet Jack Smith was given the power. He can go anywhere in the country
and Jack
to
Smith,
investigate
and Jack Smith
prosecute these cases.
Not a U.S. attorney.
Yeah, and he wasn't a U.S. attorney.
Right.
He was a private citizen.
Right.
So he was not nominated by the president. He was not confirmed by the Senate. And that clearly, obviously, violates the Appointments Clause. The only other way he could have been appointed to do this was if he's considered what they call an inferior officer of the U.S., and Congress passed a statute specifically giving the Attorney General the ability to appoint him, and there's no such statute.
Well, I just want to be clear, though. You seem to be suggesting that maybe Biden didn't read that 93-page opinion of Judge Eileen Cannon, and you know how probing and exacting he is. So,
right.
Yeah, I just want to put that on the record. Okay, very good. The SAFE Act that was leveled up by the House last week to require identification to vote in federal elections. So to prevent people in this country illegally from voting in federal elections, only 5 Democrats managed to bring themselves to support this legislation. 5 Democrats in the House, which passed the House, but is obviously not going anywhere under Chuck Schumer. But one of the arguments you hear from the left that I want you to address, since this is an area of expertise, is, Hans, we don't need this. This is redundant. This is a show vote. It is already against federal law to vote in federal elections if you're in this country legally.
Well, if something being against the law prevented people from doing it, I guess our prisons are empty, right? You don't have anybody in any of the jails or prisons in Illinois, do you?
No, but I mean, but the argument, this law is a redundancy.
No, that's really, how is it when we have an honor system for registering to vote? Everybody knows this. You fill out a 1-page form, you sign it, and you send it in. It's an honor system. And on it, you say whether or not you're a U.S. citizen. How are states supposed to check? Who are they supposed to check with to somehow verify that you are, in fact, a U.S. citizen? There is no such system in place. So the Democrats saying, oh, this is redundant, that's a lie. In fact, the only database around that is a partial answer to this, of course, is the database of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, right? I mean, they have a database of aliens who are in this country legally. They also have in their database aliens who are here illegally who at some point were caught and detained. What's not in their database are all the gotaways, right? All the aliens who managed to come in were never caught. But DHS has for years put up red tape to prevent state officials, election officials, from being able to access their database. And even if they could, it's not going to find illegals who aren't in the database. So the only way to do anything about this is to require proof of citizenship when you register to vote, just like 2/3 of the states now require you to show an ID when you go vote.
Some places like here in Illinois, if you go to get your driver's license, they try and sign you up to vote at the same time. So there's really no vetting taking place at all. And what is the Heritage Foundation or the Republican Party doing to fight this?
We have been working with state legislators and others who want to do something about this. The worst states in the country for this are, unfortunately, places like Illinois and California that have put in automatic voter registration. So they don't even ask you anymore when you go in for a driver's license whether or not you want to register to vote. They just automatically register you, and you have to tell them, oh, no, I'm not eligible. You shouldn't register me. And there's been incident after incident of it being discovered that places like California, for example, are registering people who aren't U.S. citizens.
Actually, I wanted to just share an anecdote just to make this real. And so I went to your database, the Heritage Foundation's voter fraud database in Illinois, just one case, 2017, the case of Miguel Valencia Sandoval. Miguel Valencia Sandoval, an illegal immigrant from Mexico, admitted he paid $50,000 in March of 2005 for the birth certificate of a Texas man, Ramiro Guerrero Vasquez. Using the stolen identity, he resided in Champaign County, Illinois for the past 11 years. His false identity was discovered when he applied for a U.S. passport in 2012 and made a false statement of U.S. citizenship on the passport application. Further investigation revealed he similarly made a false claim of citizenship on a voter registration application and voted in elections in Champaign County in 2012, 2014, 2016. He pleaded guilty to 5 counts, 4 of which related to voting while not a citizen, spent a year in jail, and following his apprehension for trying to illegally re-enter the United States, of course he did, sentenced to time served in January of 2018 and was scheduled to be deported back to Mexico at that time. I'm sure he's back in Champaign County now this is 6 years removed. And again, this is one case. There are many. This is one case. But this is the sort of thing that is real and that is happening. And this is why you always have the left referring to no evidence of systemic. You got to have systemic voter fraud. Oh, there's voter fraud. Right. It just hasn't risen to the level of what we define as systemic, because until you can show me thousands of Miguel Valencia Sandovals, the happening in real time, then I'm just going to stick with this idea that our elections are mainly free and fair.
Well, yeah, and look, even when you show them those larger numbers, they just ignore them and deny them. A quick example of that is Virginia recently released a report saying that since 2014, they've removed 11,000 aliens from the voter rolls. Mm-hmm. That's not a small number, especially in a state that has had 2 statewide attorney general races decided by less than 1,000 votes. That report was virtually ignored in the media. And when I mentioned that in a congressional hearing about 3 months ago, the Democratic members of it just ignored it.
What's your assessment? One of the issues that has been raised by members of Congress, Republican members of Congress on the Hill, is this interaction of federal agencies with all of the people that have been invited into this country under this president, on the order of 8, 10, 12 million, who knows? And do you have any sense of what information we're going to get or are going to be able to get as it pertains to, is DHS, one of the frontline agencies with personnel that is dealing hand to hand with people entering this country illegally at their behest, at the government's behest, of course. But any idea about what those interactions are, what the vulnerabilities are? Are there organized efforts afoot that are discernible to have illegals vote in this presidential election?
The Heritage Foundation formed what we call our oversight team, and they sent after getting some information, they sent an undercover video team down into Mexico, into a camp organized by one of those NGO nonprofits that helps aliens illegally cross the border. And what did they find there? They found posters up everywhere in this camp in Spanish telling individuals that as soon as they get across the border, they should register to vote and vote for Joe Biden. The undercover video is out. We released it. People can find it. And that's the kind of thing that is going on all along the border.
And I mean, what is your assessment of the Republican Party response, whether on the Hill or at the RNC, the Trump campaign? I mean, is there a counter to this that is afoot?
Well, the SAVE Act was supposed to be the counter to it. At least they got it through the House. As you were correct in saying, there's no way Schumer is going to let it out that way. State officials in some red states are trying to do something about it by stepping up, for example, what they're doing at their DMVs to try to find individuals who are not aliens, but they're handicapped. They're handicapped by not being able to ask for proof of citizenship and not being able to access Department of Homeland Security's database.
Hans Van Spakowski, Senior Legal Fellow for Heritage Foundation, former FEC Commissioner and lawyer for the Department of Justice, author of Our Broken Elections, How the Left Changed the Way You Vote. Thanks as always, Hans. Appreciate it.
Sir, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
The doctor's office that mixed up your files has your Social Security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. Your info is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
I just got another Balance of Nature customer, and said try it for a few weeks and see what you think. And guess what? He loves it. Can't believe he's been living without it. And this is the perfect time to try Balance of Nature if you've thought about it. Well, why is that? Well, right now, 50% off, half off. If you use coupon code Chicago. 6 capsules a day, you're getting 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. Your body, your heart, and mind will thank you. More energy, and you're doing something for yourself. You're being proactive. And guess what? When you take Balance of Nature, you are going to love it. And so will your body, mind, and heart, and they'll thank you for it. So here's what you do. Call this number, 800 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 50% off your first set and free shipping when you sign up as a new preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago to save 50%. Hurry, though. This is a limited time offer while supplies last.
IT support, how can we help?
Hey there, we have a huge problem. Our network crashed and our entire assembly line is down. We're losing thousands of dollars an hour. Can you help?
Please hold.
What are they saying?
They put me on hold.
We gotta get this line back running now.
IT support, who are you holding for, please?
Oh, hi. I need help. My network is down. I've been on hold for over...
Sorry, wrong call. Please hold again.
Sound familiar? Don't let a network problem cost your business thousands of dollars. Turnkey is the champion of small businesses. For the price of a monthly car payment, Turnkey will fully protect your network with the most secure, up-to-date cyber protection, unlimited backup, unlimited 24/7 help desk support, and real-time threat hunting. All by world-class technicians who really care about helping people. Protect your small business today. Visit turnkey.pro today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The director of the Secret Service spoke to ABC News. We'll have what she said and bump it up against Mike Olson, retired Secret Service agent, and see what he thinks about the accountability the Secret Service is taking for its failure on Saturday. That's at 6:36.
And why no female Secret Service agents around Trump last night? But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike.
Day 2 of the Republican National Convention. 69 degrees at 6:31. The theme in Milwaukee today will be Make America Safe Again. Speakers on deck to talk about backing law enforcement and securing the southern border. Also this morning, new details about the moments just before a gunman shot and struck President Donald Trump during a rally over the weekend. Fox's Jonathan Seri is in Butler, Pennsylvania.
A law enforcement source telling Fox News Digital that this local law enforcement officer 30 minutes before the shooting went to state police with a photo of this suspicious individual and that there was some conversation between law enforcement over whether this was a rangefinder that he was carrying or just a pair of binoculars. Another law enforcement source telling Fox News that there was a lot of police traffic during the rally, indicating that officers were searching for a suspicious individual after getting tips from just everyday citizens at the rally.
A 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks is named as the shooter killed by the Secret Service. President Biden was pushed on how he can turn down the heat in political discourse, but he pivoted right back to Donald Trump last night on NBC.
How do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody?
Biden saying he's, quote, not engaged, end quote, in that kind of language. Federal Judge Eileen Cannon dismissing the case against former President Donald Trump involving his retention of classified documents after leaving office. Fox's David Spunt.
Judge Cannon is making the argument that she's not looking back. She's saying that this specific case is brought before her, and regardless if another special counsel in the past was Senate confirmed, that does not matter here. She said that the court is convinced that the prosecution breaches two structural cornerstones of our Constitution. The role of Congress in the appointment of constitutional officers and the role of Congress in authorizing expenditures by law.
That decision can still be appealed, and it looks like it will be appealed. California schools this morning are banned from mandating teachers to tell parents about student gender identity changes. Governor Gavin Newsom signing that bill into law late on Monday. It comes as many school boards in California decided over the summer to require schools to notify parents when a student changes their name or pronouns. Cleanup crews are busy in the Chicago area this morning after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area. One person was killed when the storm sent a tree flying onto a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Indiana State Police are not confirming an identity as of yet. The U.S. Geological Survey confirms that an earthquake did hit DeKalb County yesterday, a 3.4 magnitude quake. And attorneys for indicted former Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan believe that more than a dozen charges against him should be dropped. The filing yesterday that was sent to the court quotes a U.S. Supreme Court ruling last month that the federal bribery statute does not ban gratuities to public officials. Bulls will try to get back in the win column when they take on the Pistons in the NBA Summer League tonight. Shota Imanaga and Garrett Crochet gearing up to play in their first All-Star games. The Midsummer Classic starts at 7 tonight. The news, a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This week, the eyes of the nation will turn to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. At AM 560, The Answer will provide gavel-to-gavel coverage each night, beginning at 7 p.m., presented by 120 Life. Hear all of the speeches, and then instant analysis from AM 560's Bruce DeMont, Jeannie Ives, and John Anthony. And they'll be taking your calls with your reaction. Don't miss a moment as the Republicans officially nominate Donald Trump right here on your election station. AM 560, The Answer.
When you're in chronic pain, you're miserable to be around, and so are the people who have to watch you suffer. So stop it. Do something about it. Now's the time to be proactive and take care of yourself. And there's another solution other than surgery or drugs. Call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, they have a cutting-edge treatment that revitalizes your joints with your body's own healing process. So if you have arthritis or if you're in pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back due to an injury, you need to call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation and get your life and mobility back. You know, I've been to one of their clinics. I met a few of their customers. They were smiling from ear to ear, so happy to have their mobility back, pain-free, without surgery. They have locations all across the Chicagoland area, including new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Call for a free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna, and I love taking Balance of Nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product.
I'm Rick. I'm in the best shape of my life. I play a lot of golf. I work out and ride my bike. I'm 63 and I can still almost hit a golf ball 300 yards. I mean, when I'm in the gym, I can do 90-pound dumbbells. That's what I did when I was young. As long as I'm living, I'll keep taking my Balance of Nature.
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. This week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this look at the roads is a service of Macy's Backstage. Shop Macy's Backstage today for amazing deals on everything you need for summer. Low prices every day at Macy's Backstage. Find a store near you at macysbackstage.com. Off price, on trend, arriving daily. Plainfield this morning, Will County, Lockport Street, eastbound from Route 59 all the way to before I-55 shut down in several areas because of ongoing road work this morning. You throw in the delays from trees down and wires down in that area, and there's some major delays this morning. Same story on I-80, but this is an accident. Eastbound, jammed up between I-57 and Kedzie. A semi went off I-80 and landed on Kedzie. Vehicle fire on the Reagan I-88 eastbound between County Line and Watson Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Humid with more clouds than sun, high 87. Partly cloudy, humid 68 overnight. Right now, partly cloudy and 69 at O'Hare, 70 at Midway. Some rain this morning in Waukegan and 69. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So yesterday, Kimberly Cheadle, she is the director of Secret Service. She sat down for a interview, ? Scare quotes. It didn't seem like much of an interview. It seemed like an opportunity for her to say, I accept responsibility because Secret Service had command control of the space, as we always do in those situations, but I don't want to get into any details or provide specific accountability, just generally accountability. It's the classic way that a government commissar operates. I accept general responsibility. The buck stops with me. Anything specific you want to add? No.
What was your reaction when you saw the events unfold on Saturday?
Shock, and then concern, obviously, for the former president. This is an event that should have never happened.
Who is most responsible for this happening?
What I would say is that the Secret Service is responsible for the protection of the former president.
So the buck stops with you?
The buck stops with me. I am the director of the Secret Service. It was unacceptable, and it's something that shouldn't happen again.
The President and Homeland Security Secretary said today they had 100% confidence in you, but there are some members of Congress calling on you to resign.
I appreciate the Secretary's comments, and we're going to continue to be transparent and communicate with people.
You plan to stay on, absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
There was a gun to her head. I mean, she said quick answers, programmed answers.
What happened was unacceptable. So the obvious follow-up question that evaded the comprehension of that ABC news flack. So why did it happen? So why did it happen? If what happened was unacceptable, if you were shocked by it, then, and if you're responsible, give us your explanation of why things went down the way they went down, how that building was left unguarded.
Why didn't he ask her that question? Why didn't you sweep all the buildings in the area? There's only 12.
Well, they did. According to the reporting, they did. According to CBS News, also, they had plenty of lead time before the shooter opened fire. Snipers observed Crooks checking out the structure, taking out a rangefinder, later returning with a backpack. Local law enforcement said Crooks kept, quote-unquote, disappearing before he climbed on the roof. One of the snipers inside saw the shooter outside and looking up at the roof, observing the building. He came back. He sat down. He looked at his phone. At that point, one of the snipers took a picture of him. For posterity, Crooks took out a rangefinder and the sniper radioed to the command post. Crooks disappeared again and then came back a third time with a backpack. The snipers called in with information that he had a backpack and said he was walking towards the back of the building. Officers think the shooter used the air conditioning unit as a way to leverage himself up onto the roof. So you're taking pictures, you're radioing about him, and there's no direction to go secure him?
Or even get Trump off stage.
This is before he's on the roof with a rifle. If he is a suspicious character, by the way, the building in question where the shooter was on, was a staging area for local law enforcement. So he's on a roof underneath a bunch of law enforcement officers in that building. And we didn't get any distillation of that from Director Cheadle. But the ABC News reporter was right. Ali Mayorkas at the ready, 100% confidence. Not 99, not 95. He is 100% confidence in Secret Service and Director Cheadle after Saturday.
On that, does the president have confidence in the Secret Service director after Saturday's failures?
I have 100% confidence in the director of the United States Secret Service. I have 100% confidence in the United States Secret Service. And what you saw on stage on Saturday with respect to individuals putting their own lives at risk for the protection of another is exactly what the American public should see every single day. It is what I indeed do.
And guess what? The border is secure, too.
Well, first of all, the question was, does the president have 100% confidence in Secret Service? You're not the president. Yeah, and 100%, really?
Wow.
So, right, the Secret Service that jumped on Trump, but what about the obvious failure that everyone's admitting? Is that doesn't shake your confidence at all? I'll tell you, that's the one thing you can always count on from the central planners is 100% confidence in everything they're doing at all times, regardless of results. I wish I was that confident about everything. Mike Olson is a retired Secret Service agent. He joins us now. Mike, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, welcome, Dan and Amy. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. So your reaction to specifically the director's comments, it was unacceptable, but we don't really get any color on why the unacceptable occurred.
Well, there's no question it's unacceptable. There's no question it was a failure. I mean, you need to spend an entire career in the Secret Service and be bored off your behind is a successful career, to be honest with you. This isn't the movie, so these things aren't supposed to happen because the Secret Service prides itself in all of its advanced work and its upfront work to keep these things from happening. There's obviously, a series of concentric rings of circles and defense that are built as part of its program, which relies on all kinds of other resources. And when that starts to happen, you run into communication issues and potential problems. But these problems that had the ability to create weaknesses over many, many years were things that could be fixed a long, long time ago in the form of resources being requested and asked for by this agency. And I don't want to rip on the agency as a whole, because there's fantastic people that work inside the agency, men and women that are extremely devoted to their job. But where a lot of things usually break down is in any organization is leadership at the top. It didn't start there. This is a resource issue. There's no secret right now. There's human resource deficit, not only in the Secret Service, but in a lot of law enforcement agencies right now, and that's going to create problems.
Well, that's true, and that may be the case generally, but it's not the case here, it doesn't seem. I mean, when you have eyes on this suspicious individual, when you have local law enforcement staging in the building that he is on top of, when you have a sniper taking a picture of him and radioing communication. I can't wait if we'll ever get the transcripts of all the radio communications and other communications in real time from Saturday. But I mean, that's just inexplicable. And then Secret Service yesterday seemed to sort of, Anthony Guglielmi, who we know from Chicago, used to be a spokesman for CPD, seemed to sort of say, well, Secret Service didn't have responsibility for the property surrounding. Actually, that's not true. They have command control of the entire footprint, as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they're directing local law enforcement. Local law enforcement serves at the direction of Secret Service in an environment like that. And so the snipers are taking pictures, they're radioing, somebody's communicating something to somebody, and this goes on for half an hour, and yet this guy just meanders about, comes back and forth, gets on top of a building, and opens fire.
Assuming and I will assume for the conversation that all of that is accurate as far as the footprint. 100%. This is the Secret Service's responsibility. 100%. They own that. That is the one thing the director did say, and I was listening to you before I came on. That the buck stops with the director. It stops with the Secret Service. Any suggestion that it was anybody else's fault or could be is not the correct answer. Bottom line is this is something the Secret Service solely focuses on, trains on, works with departments and resources across the country. But what can't be let down is this softening of its stance, which I think has occurred in a lot of organizations, and it's occurred there over the years. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask you. So the Secret Service protocol say you can't fire until the shooter fires first. But with that aside, Secret Service had eyes on the shooter that we just discussed. Why, at the very least, didn't they surround Trump or take him off stage until the threat was eliminated?
That's a great question, Amy, and it came up in a discussion I had yesterday as well. Assuming all of this activity was occurring as you described, and there's no reason to not think that, but because it paints a perfect picture, there should have been radio communications occurring. There is a command post that is set up between all of the agencies involved. It may not be right there on the site. There may have been a secondary, what we call a security room, that was on site that consisted of on-site personnel as well. So you basically have almost dual control of communication potentials in case of failure at one. And that information, as was described as I listened to coming onto the show, if that information was going on at that site in that proximity, that should have been being communicated, especially to the detail supervisor, who should have been making a decision to either keep the president from getting on stage or taking him off stage until that was fully investigated, especially given in light of some of the reports that have come in.
Is that right? Sorry to interrupt, but is that right that the rules of engagement are that the counter sniper can't open fire until the shooter shoots?
I will add color to that. It's partially true, partially not. They have the decision if they see a threat to do that. However, bear in mind, and I'm not suggesting this is the case with this particular team or anything like that, we're in a volatile environment right now where law enforcement has been targeted across the country. I live in Minneapolis, and it's horrendous up here in terms of the fear that's instilled in the rank and file of officers. And the administrations and leadership won't tell you that everything is great. But when you speak to rank and file officers, which I do because of what I do now for a living, you get a different story. And that's the fear of being prosecuted. That's, all this stuff that's going on, the fear of being the epicenter of the next incident, things like that. So bottom line is that counter sniper who pulled that trigger had to be dang sure that what they were doing was going to stand up in court and stand up in front of Congress, because that's one of the things they beat in the Secret Service agent's head. You are responsible if that's your site. Whatever actions you take, if something happens and there's an investigation, which obviously there will be, you will be in front of Congress and potentially in front of a court of law testifying as to your actions. And so in this current state of affairs that we're in this nation with the anti-police, anti-law enforcement, and it affects the federal level too, you can't tell me that things like that don't weigh on the back of a mind of somebody's decision as to whether they're going to act quickly enough. And I'm not saying that happened here because we don't know yet.
So I mean, right. I mean, it seems to me that at minimum, I mean, you have to trust the counter sniper's judgment too. And we talked to James Fitzgerald yesterday about this, retired FBI agent and profiler, and he to that question he sort of said, I mean, he agrees about the culture that you're talking about that's antagonistic to law enforcement, but he also says your training takes over too. And I mean that so these counter snipers are so highly trained that your training takes over, and so you're sort of in the zone of what your professional expertise is. But I hear what you're saying, and I think that's fair. But then I mean that if the reporting from CBS News and other outlets is right, that you had a half an hour and all this chatter back and forth. I mean, that's the thing that's just like indefensible. Forget the counter sniper, for example. Somebody has to say something that says, if you see, if you have eyes on, radio back, and you take that person out. I mean, that is so much time that supervisory personnel had to make the right call.
So that's a fair response, Dan. Sorry, excuse me. That's a fair response, and however, I would add this: a man, a boy, a young person crawling across a roof all by itself is not enough in the United States for a law enforcement officer to take them out.
With a rifle?
Now,
With a right? Yeah.
well, and that is the operative question. Did the person that's going to take that shot have all of the information necessary to do that sooner than they were able to? If they did, I hope that would have been done, or I would have hoped they would have immediately removed the president from the stage and got him out of the line of sight. That is a big thing too. That certain people don't want to make that decision because what if they were wrong? What if it was nothing? What if this was just some kid going up there with his telescope wanting to get a closer view of the event? So a perfect breakdown occurred. A shot wasn't taken. A supervisor decided not to pull the president off the stage, and all these things came cascading together. Again, I'm not saying that's the investigation hopefully will reveal all that, and it should be open, transparent, and I hope everybody involved is completely honest and forthright with all conditions in the agencies leading up to this day as well.
Mike Olson, retired Secret Service agent. Mike, thanks so much for your time and insights. We do appreciate it.
You're welcome, Dan and Amy. Thank you, and have a great day. Stay safe.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The doctor's office that mixed up your files has your Social Security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info and last 3 addresses. Your info is in endless places that could accidentally expose your info to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, their great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW to start saving now on your cell phone plan.
AM 560. The Answer.
Well, that sound means it's time for In-Depth History with Frank, the history teacher from Arlington Heights, because there's nothing new in this world, just the history we don't know, and Frank does. Frank, take it away.
Good morning. Elon Musk recently posted on X that the last time America had a president this tough was Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy was indeed a dynamo, both physically and emotionally. He suffered from asthma and participated in wrestling and boxing to do what he thought would counter this. He also wrote several books, and he had to deal with the death of both his mother and his first wife on the same day. He was our first modern president and turned the office into a bully pulpit. This may not have been what Musk was referring to, though. In 1901, Roosevelt became president through the assassination of President McKinley and led the country through a progressive period which he was very devoted to. After his chosen successor, William Howard Taft, failed to lower tariffs, Teddy ran again in 1912 and was himself the victim of a shooting at a campaign stop in Milwaukee. The bullet hit him right in the chest, but was impeded by his steel case for his glasses and the thick manuscript of his speech. Despite getting hit, he continued on for 45 minutes, declaring he was as strong as a bull moose. He carried the bullet in him the rest of his life. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, but although it's not as well known, survived an earlier assassination attempt as well. After the Montgomery bus boycott, King had more of a national stature. So in 1958, he was in a department store in Harlem on a book tour, and a deranged woman stabbed him in the chest with a letter opener. The police knew enough to not remove it from his chest, and he was carefully moved to a hospital for delicate surgery as the blade was almost touching his aorta. He survived this, and at age 29 had the courage to fight on for his movement. And what we have seen thus far from President Trump shows that he has no intention of being intimidated either.
Very good, Frank. That's great historical perspective. And Frank, you had a plug you wanted to get into. We got 15 seconds.
Sure. Yes, I just wanted to give a plug for an organization called FISH, Friends Indeed Serve and Help. They're a group that helps the elderly get to medical appointments. If you live in or near Maine Township, please call MJ at 847-692-7612. That's MJ at 847-692-7612. Thank you.
Thanks as always, Frank. Good stuff.
It's the best. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
7:07, retired FBI supervisory agent James Gagliano.
Humid clouds, sun. It's now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Donald Trump makes history. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, the first Republican nominated for president 3 straight times, and he got a big ovation that turned into that USA chant at the convention as he waved at the crowd with a bandaged right ear. Former President Trump's first public appearance in surviving the assassination attempt. Fox's Brooke Singman was there in Milwaukee.
He was joined on stage Monday night by his VP pick, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Trump announcing the choice on his Truth Social, saying, quote, as Vice President, J.D. will continue to fight for our Constitution, stand with our troops, and will do everything he can to help me make America great again.
Senator J.D. Vance had been an outspoken Trump critic back in 2016, but tells Fox's Hannity,
President Trump did a really good job. And I actually think it's a good thing when you see somebody, you were wrong about him, you ought to admit the mistake.
President Biden tells NBC News he made a mistake, saying before Saturday's shooting that former President Trump should be put in a bullseye, saying he meant there should be a focus on his threats to democracy. The president also again brushed off some calls from fellow Democrats to drop out of the race.
What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people that I'm in command of all my faculties.
House lawmakers will get a Secret Service briefing today into the assassination attempt and why more wasn't done to prevent it Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania, where Fox's Jonathan Sari reports.
There was police chatter on the radio of an active search for a suspicious individual. And then we know that once the gunman had climbed to the roof of this building just outside of the venue, individual citizens began alerting police.
Investigators are still trying to figure out the gunman's motive. There's tornado and storm damage from Iowa to Michigan. The Chicago area hit hard.
Transformers in our backyard's all blue and a tree fell onto them. Now we're trying to figure out what all has been affected out here.
Someone was killed by a falling tree in Indiana. America's listening to Fox News.
69 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Cleanup crews are busy this morning after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area. Several tornadoes reportedly touched down. The National Weather Service is investigating. Tornadoes reported both at O'Hare and Midway. Maybe the first time ever that has happened. As of last night, about 240,000 ComEd customers were without power. Now, just moments ago, ComEd has updated that number to 213,000. One person was killed when storms sent a tree onto a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Indiana State Police are not confirming an identity. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling remains confident about security plans for next month's Democrat National Convention following the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump.
We want to make sure that we're protecting everything, all of the venues that we can protect, but we also want to make sure that we keep the city safe as a whole.
Trump has become the official Republican presidential nominee after receiving votes of Illinois delegates in Milwaukee. Earlier in the day, Illinois Republicans met for breakfast and rallied around Trump. Representative Mike Bost led the charge.
We're handling this job, which is so vitally important, not only to the nation, but to the world, is in the hands of a person who is aging and aging very rapidly. The President, Joe Biden, looked like my dad did 3 years before he passed.
Chicago police this morning say they're searching for 2 missing children believed to be with their mother. Authorities say 2-year-old Selena Miller and 5-year-old Nico Miller were last seen July 9. The mother, Maple Miller, may be hiding the siblings and possibly relocating them to Michigan. Cubs continue to add to their organization during day 2 of the Major League Baseball draft, 8 bats and 2 pitchers. The Southsiders took a big bat, Arizona State outfielder Nick McLean, in round 3 of the draft. Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby champion is Teoscar Hernandez, outslugging Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. The Midsummer Classic is tonight. The news, a service of Valdecast Windows for discerning homeowners looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement. Contact Valdecast Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella Certified contractor. Visit Valdecast.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Sean Thompson Show.
Who are these idiots in a room chanting 4 more years? Well, these are some of the cohorts of corruption. And the saddest part is they don't have to be the ones who are actually the profiteer, the welfare recipients who exist only because this party is willing to openly buy votes. And I thought it was fascinating last night. Truly, absolutely fascinating. But what to me was astonishing is the excuse. Did he have a cold? Is it herpes? What exactly does he have?
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, the great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now to start saving now on your cell phone plan. Jerry Paget, the second enlisted in the U.S. Navy and deployed multiple times to Iraq and Afghanistan until Jerry was catastrophically injured in an improvised explosive device blast. Now, Jerry received a new smart home thanks to our friends at the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Now, the home is in the foundation's Let Us Do Good Village. It's in Florida, and Jerry now lives more independently thanks to the specially adaptive technologies. Commit to $11 a month, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you. You've watched the news. Rising crime has been affecting our everyday lives in Illinois more and more these days. Blue Star Security can protect you, your business, or your place of worship. Blue Star Security is the only security company in Chicago with over 900 off-duty police officers, all W-2 employees.
I'm Jeffrey Salvetti, Vice President of Blue Star Security and a 15-year law enforcement veteran. The Blue Star team is made up of over 900 state-certified active and retired law enforcement professionals. We serve businesses and private organizations with supply chain and special event security, and also protect our loved ones at places of worship and schools all across the Chicagoland area. Blue Star Security's technology allows mobilization of off-duty officers quickly and efficiently. Our primary mission is to provide unparalleled protective services for each assignment with integrity while maintaining our commitment to community service in the Chicagoland area.
Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at BlueStarSecurityLLC.com. That's BlueStarSecurityLLC.com.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is service of Windy City Safes, Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles showroom, 224 Lockbox, or online at windycitysafes.com. Inbound Kennedy stands at 1 hour now. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. I-55 north and southbound near Lorenzo Road still shut down with electric wires crossing both northbound and southbound 55. Traffic diverted off. 2 right lanes on Lakeshore Drive now blocked due to high standing water and flooding southbound between Irving Park and Belmont. The Reagan is shut down entirely due to a vehicle fire. Lots of emergency equipment on the scene between County Line and Watson on the eastbound side. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
More clouds than sun, humid. The high today 86. Partly cloudy, humid tonight and a low 68. Some sun, breezy day tomorrow, the high 79. Breezy Thursday morning and sunny and pleasant, the high at 75. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Partly cloudy, 69. A water temp of 72. And your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Don Jr. at the convention was confronted by Klingon Collins of CNN, asked about Saturday. I thought it was interesting to get son's perspective after that traumatic experience of having his father almost assassinated on Saturday at that rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Here's what Don Jr. had to say.
Thank you. I'm here with Donald Trump Jr. Obviously, he was just talking about how his dad picked his selection for Vice President, Senator J.D. Vance. But how's your dad doing overall since Saturday night?
He's doing well. I mean, it obviously was a pretty somber moment. I was with my kids on a Saturday evening, and I get this news that he's been shot, but I couldn't get a hold of anyone. He was in lockdown at the hospital. It took about 90 minutes, so that was a long time.
90 minutes where you could talk to him?
Before I could speak to him and really know what was going on. And when I did, he was, some shock, but a lot of resolve. He was joking about it and talking about it in a way that only my father could do. But it was just that moment when he stood up after being shot at and just showed resolve to keep fighting for this country. That was everything for me. I just literally told him, I go, "You're the biggest badass I know." And so we had some jokes about that. That was the first thing I thought to think of even in that moment, because it was that powerful. And that's the kind of resolve. That's why we had peace deals under Trump. That's why we had a great economy. You need that. We're watching right now the weakness that's led our country into all of these disasters, into these wars. And it's because that's the nature of predation. When a predator sees weakness that we're exuding on the world stage, they pounce. And so I think it's going to be important to get that back, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had to wait 90 minutes. That's a long time, because those two, their line of communication is always open.
Yeah, in fact, I think Don Jr. had a lot of influence on picking on the selection of Vance as his father's running mate, in fact. But getting to the FBI's investigation into the attempted assassination of the president on Saturday. So what do we know about the shooter so far? I mean, at least in terms of what's been reported, what we know versus what the FBI knows, probably two very different things. The FBI says he acted alone. They say he had very limited social media use. They say he was not known to the agency, so he had not, gotten onto the FBI or law enforcement's radar locally or federally. We know about he donated through Act Blue, registered Republican, all that kind of business.
I think he did that to throw people off. That's conjecture on my part.
Yeah, perhaps. Law enforcement officials say there was a good amount of planning that took place. The CBS reporting we were just talking about with the retired Secret Service agent Mike Olson suggests some of that, and suggests some of the planning was sort of being done in real time under the watchful eye of Secret Service and local law enforcement. It's rather bizarre. He was not carrying an ID. Explosive materials found in his vehicle in his home. We need more color on that.
They were able to unlock his phone in Quantico yesterday, but are still going through and still say they do not have a motive yet.
Graduated from the Community College of Allegheny County with an associate degree in engineering science. He worked as a dietary aide at a nursing center. The nursing center said his background check was clean. Classmates said he was a loner in high school who had been bullied. That's about what we know. Part of the question is, what will we ever really know, and what sort of alacrity will the FBI have in providing details that we could get relatively fast? And we were just talking about that again with Mike Olson. Some of those details, in terms of assessing the performance of Secret Service and law enforcement, how this happened, the communications between law enforcement on that day. We have CBS News reporting about this half hour, and people have eyes on him, and there are radio transmissions. I want to see some sort of even, sensibly redacted transcript of that. That should be made part of the public domain. But I don't know.
And I want to hear from that officer that was on the roof and didn't engage him and then went and retreated.
Well,
why?
I don't. We don't need to hear from anybody in particular. We have transcripts.
Okay.
All those transmissions are recorded, and they should be disclosed in substantive part. At least that's my view. For more on the investigation into what everybody acknowledges as a failure, but just acknowledging the obvious is not good enough. James Gagliano joins us. He's a retired FBI supervisory special agent and a doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's. Don't call them the Red Storm. He also serves as mayor of the village of Cornwall-on-Hudson, New York, and he is on the board of directors of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund. James Gagliano, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, it's been a long time. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Thanks for joining us again. And so, give us your perspective. I don't want to lead you anywhere. Just your perspective on the sort of investigation the FBI you expect will do and maybe perhaps should do if there's any daylight between those two.
Sure, absolutely, and I think Dan, you laid it out there, with crystalline focus in regards to where we are right now with public information regarding the investigation. And I was appreciative of the president getting out in the Oval Office and giving an address and advising everyone to take the temperature down. And we always caution, let's wait till the facts come in, but you know what happens. The internet's loose, and the folks that have all the answers jump out ahead, and the speculation runs rampant. Look, I was on the ground. I was working for CNN at the time, recently retired from the FBI in 2017 when Stephen Paddock murdered 58 people at a country concert in Las Vegas. We still don't have a motive there. Mm-hmm. And I think that people that are expecting or anticipating you're going to get a motive, through an investigation, sometimes it's difficult. And sometimes bad people do bad and evil things, and it defies credulity. You can't figure out that answer. The FBI is going to work on that. You mentioned the phone. They had been able to access to basically get past the encryption and get into the phone. I believe, and I'm hearing this through channels, that they're working on a laptop as well. You pointed out that the shooter, a 20-year-old kid, a loner, an outsider, apparently, has some conflicting and confusing backgrounds. But look, that doesn't change the fact that he tried to assassinate a former president. That has not happened in 43 years. But in our country's history, 4 presidents have been assassinated. There has been a bunch of political violence across the last 10 years from the extremists on both sides of things. This, and especially with the RNC entering day 2 in Milwaukee, this is a troubling construct. And yes, you rightly point out there's going to be a lot of questions about the Secret Service, their relations with local law enforcement, why the perimeter could have been breached that easily, and the communications failures, which I got to tell you guys, 25 years in the FBI, served in many tactical response positions with the hostage rescue team, and as the senior team leader of the New York City FBI office SWAT team. Every after-action review I ever sat on, we talked at the end and said, why couldn't we speak to each other? And I'm sure that's going to be a central focus in this investigation.
Since the rifle belonged to his father, do you think his father is going to face any charges?
I don't. So long as this was a legally purchased weapon, and this is Pennsylvania, where it is a big hunting culture, and believe it or not, and I know the AR-15 is demonized often, but it is a popular hunting weapon. The son was, apparently had used it before for target practice. So long as the father did not know and was not complicit, or there were not signs that his son was so troubled or had made threats against, assassination, to kill a president or something like that, I do not believe that the family, the father, could be charged for this.
So this generally acknowledged failure that is lacking in sort of specific details, some of which surrounds technology. I mean, you mentioned 4 presidents have been assassinated, But, even in this hypercharged political environment, with technology today and the sophistication of law enforcement, and frankly, the analog effort that was made to assassinate President Trump, talk about straining the bounds of credulity. Were there drones used? They have access to that technology. They should have. I mean, it's almost redundant at this point, because if the reporting is right, they all had eyes on this guy for 30 minutes, and then sort of nobody did anything. It was like what assassin menagerie. They're just watching him operate around. Why doesn't somebody take him into custody? Why doesn't somebody confront him? None of that happened. In addition to then, of course, allowing him to get to that elevated position. I mean, like, the motive is one thing, and of course we'd like to know a motive, but I understand it's possible that we never will get a satisfactory answer on that. But there has to be a satisfactory answer on how that all went down, that half hour from first sight to him on a roof opening fire.
And I'm going to push back on you and say you're not going to get one. And here's why. The Secret Service has an abundance of resources. Now, having said that, they answer underneath the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. And when something like the Republican National Convention this week, or when the Democrats hold their national convention, something like that happens, it's designated an NSSE, which is a National Special Security Event. Resources aren't an issue there. When you're protecting a former president, and I could argue that, look, this guy is wildly popular with his supporters and loathed by his detractors. He's a polarizing figure. Should there have been upgraded security? Absolutely. But when you're traveling on the campaign trail, you do not have months and months and months to plan for something and prepare for something. You have limited resources, and you are relying on police departments, state and local police departments, some of which are better than other, and I'm not casting aspersions here, but it makes it difficult. I'm going to leave you with this, and this is a news-making thing. But I learned a long time ago. I served on protection details for 3 attorneys general. I served on protection details for 2 FBI directors. One of the things I learned as a young FBI agent back in the early 90s was this. A senior grizzled veteran told me, Jimmy, complacency kills. You always have to treat every surveillance opportunity, every time you're protecting a dignitary or a protectee, you have to believe that something bad could happen on your watch, and you can't ever allow complacency set in. He also told me this. If you are willing to die in the process, listen to what I'm saying. If a bad guy, a terrorist, a criminal, a depraved individual is willing to die in the process, when we live in a free and open society like our democracy demands here in the United States, there is no person that you can 100% guarantee can be protected 100% of the time. And I think with what the Secret Service was dealing with, these whistle-stop tours, hey, tomorrow we're headed here, 2 days later we're going there, and you're making all these coordinations. It's difficult. I'm not making excuses for them. I'm not shilling for them. Clearly there was a failure here. 130 yards away, and a kid gets up on a rooftop with an AR-15. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt until the investigation concludes.
But that half hour, the decision making in real time, even if there was a gap, even if some local law enforcement officer missed the call to secure that building, the eyes that were on him. I mean, this is the rally goers that were saying "guy on roof," calling attention to the rally goers were part of the security detail that day, and I just like the judgment calls. There has to be some accountability for those judgment calls that were made during that 30-minute period where he was first sighted, if it wasn't before, by some of the rally goers. Don't you think?
I do, but let me also explain. You were mentioning something about transcripts. And look, I've been out of the FBI for 8 years. I know technology, emergent technologies evolve, and I know that they get better at things. And obviously, from lessons learned and best practices, they do things differently. But when I was a SWAT team leader and I was working for security at the Republican National Convention in 2004, which was held at Madison Square Garden in the heart of New York City. Mm-hmm. This was 3 years after 9/11, so same type of heightened threat posture and concerns. You're talking about 100 plus agencies that are working together. There's a command post or a joint operations center or a fusion cell, whatever you want to call it, that is fielding all this different radio traffic. Well, Jimmy, why couldn't they talk to each other? Well, the counter snipers for the Secret Service are on one frequency. The FBI counter assault team is on another frequency. Command and control and headquarters is on another frequency. The NYPD has 10 or 20 different surveillance operations groups, counter assault teams, beat cops on different frequencies. It's impossible to put everybody on one freak. Everything has to go through a fusion center, and information and intelligence has to be vetted in real time. Now, and again, I'm not making excuses for the fact that this appears, and folks, I'll say this, a colossal failure, a lapse of security, a breach that's inexcusable. And I agree, heads may roll. Should the head of the Secret Service take the blame for this? Yes, she should. Should the site advance folks? Should the people in charge of yes, I understand that. But I want to understand why that 30 minutes happened, why the local police officers that saw this, were alerted to this, were not able to get the information to where it needed to go, and it took so long for that to happen. Unconscionable.
Yeah, no, we want those answers too. James Gagliano, retired FBI supervisory special agent, doctoral candidate in Homeland Security at St. John's. He also serves as the mayor of the village of Cornwall-on-Hudson in New York, and he's on the board of directors of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund as well. James Gagliano, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and Amy. Take care, guys.
You too, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Quick delivery service. What do you need delivered today?
Hi, I'm trying to work through a last-minute to-do list for my boss. Can you deliver a hard drive to the Loop in Chicago?
We can deliver that today.
Okay, can you deliver 20 boxes to a client in Rockford?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver 12 pallets of tile to our customer in Naperville?
We can deliver that today.
Can you deliver a large...
For that today.
Oh my gosh, I think my water just broke. Can you...
We cannot deliver that.
Quick Delivery Service delivers your package no matter the size. More than just a messenger service, Quick Delivery Service is a messenger and trucking service that can also provide scheduled routes for your daily delivery or your air shipment. Trucks are equipped to handle the load and provide ground-level service for same-day delivery. The Quick Delivery Service team of safe, licensed professionals can provide quick door-to-door service for your special delivery. QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. We deliver that today. But we don't deliver this.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office. The physicians there specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient, physician-monitored, self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month, so there's no need to come in for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
For anyone with everyday aches and pains, I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna, and I love taking Balance of Nature.
It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product.
I'm Rick. I'm in the best shape of my life. I play a lot of golf. I work out and ride my bike. I'm 63 and I can still almost hit a golf ball 300 yards. I mean, when I'm in the gym, I can do 90-pound dumbbells. That's what I did when I was young. As long as I'm living, I'll keep taking my Balance of Nature.
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. This week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
What if I told you you can save a baby's life for just $28? Well, it's true. Preborn is a ministry doing just that with the help of people like you by offering free ultrasound sessions to pregnant girls and women who otherwise might choose to end their pregnancy. We know that pregnant girls and women who can see their babies on ultrasound are far more likely to choose life. Your gift today can save babies' lives. Just $28 can give a mother the chance to see the truth of the baby that is growing inside her. $140 can do this for 5 girls and women. Whether you want to save one baby or 5 or hundreds, that opportunity is just a click or phone call away. Call 833-850-BABY. That's 833-850-2229. Or go online to 560theanswer.com/preborn.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, we'll take reactions to our last couple of interviews with retired Secret Service and retired FBI in case you feel like we missed any questions we should have asked them about what we know so far about this failed assassination attempt. And also want to get to a unprecedented event at the RNC Day 1, and that's Teamsters Union President speaking to the RNC, Sean O'Brien. So we'll tackle all that at 7:37.
And J.D. Vance explains his change of heart. But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7:32, 70 degrees this morning. And Ohio Senator J.D. Vance is going to be Donald Trump's running mate after getting the presidential nomination. Adams County, Ohio Chairman Ty Pell this morning says he knows J.D. well.
Oh, J.D.'s a local guy, so we're excited about him. He came to our Lincoln Day dinner before he announced his run for the Senate, and he's just a smart, down-to-earth guy.
The delegation formally nominating him yesterday on the opening day of the Republican National Convention. President Biden reacting to former President Trump naming Vance as his running mate.
He's a clone of Trump on the issues. A clone of Trump on the issues. So I don't see any difference.
Trump making his first public appearance since being injured in an assassination attempt on Saturday. Last night, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott told the crowd it's a miracle Trump survived.
The devil came to Pennsylvania holding a rifle, but an American lion got back up on his feet and he roared. Oh, yeah.
The FBI says their search of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania homes of Thomas Crooks is complete. Agents reportedly finding a number of suspicious devices inside the family home. President Biden will be in Las Vegas today. He's scheduled to speak at the 115th NAACP convention. Israeli strikes across Gaza killed more than 30 in deadly violence that continues to rage as Hamas weighs the latest ceasefire proposal. Taliban officials say heavy rains in eastern Afghanistan have killed 40 overnight, injuring 350. Cleanup crews are busy this morning after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area. The National Weather Service investigating that several tornadoes may have touched down last night. Tornadoes were reported at both O'Hare and Midway. About 208,000 ComEd customers are without power. One person was killed when storms sent a tree onto a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Indiana State Police are not confirming an identity. Chicago sports. The Bulls Summer League team will try to get back in the win column when they take on the Pistons in Vegas later tonight. All-Star game tonight. Garrett Crochet will represent the White Sox. Shota Imanaga, the Cubs. The news is a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk is trying to dial down the temperature.
Left-wingers are now openly calling for the public assassination of Donald Trump. This has been a bad week to be a Democrat and a liberal. Do not take the bait. They want to trigger us because these are sick people. Things are about to get really hot, everybody. And we have to bring down the temperature. And we need all of us steady and stable at the wheel. Do not take the bait.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Reveille. The assassination attempt on Trump and the killing of former Marine and firefighter Corey Comfortor and the critical wounding of 2 others proved once again the weakness of American institutions and the expert class. One need not have police or military training to understand the numerous failures that happened in securing the site for President Trump. In fact, a first-year West Point or Army ROTC student could have done a better job in understanding fields of fire and vulnerabilities of the setup. How was the shooter able to access a rooftop with a clear line of sight on Trump just a couple football fields away? Shooting from that distance and that position is an easy shot for even a novice. How is it that the police sniper returned to fire immediately to take out the shooter, but wasn't allowed to do so before? He obviously had acquired the target and had him in his sights. What are the rules of engagement that prevented the shooter from being neutralized before he shot at President Trump? Multiple video and audio reports from bystanders indicated the police knew of the presence of a potential shooter. Why wasn't Trump whisked away at that time that the security risk was noted? Isn't that scenario the exact purpose behind all the security folks being linked up with fancy communication systems? After the mass shootings of the last 2 decades, the watchwords have been see something, say something. Good Americans did just that. And then the experts responded too slowly, stymied by their own protocols and rules. The bureaucracy, once again, failed catastrophically. As to the shooter, we need to understand how a 20-year-old decides to take out the most famous politician of our time. More on that later. I'm Jeannie Ives. To learn more, listen to my radio show on Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
Honey, what are we going to do with your grandparents' old coins and jewelry?
I'm pretty sure they're worth some money.
You've been saying that for years.
Okay, how about PGS Gold and Coin? They're the best when it comes to selling family valuables.
And you know this because...
PGS, when it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Do that again.
PGS, when it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Isn't that the place Jeff sold his grandmother's jewelry when she passed?
Yep, he checked out pgsgoldandcoin.com and found tons of positive reviews. He was blown away by how much he got. Do you? Oh, you're already on the site.
Almost. pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS Gold and Coin, the upscale way of selling your coins, jewelry, diamonds, and collectibles. Family owned and operated for over 14 years. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Now with 4 Chicagoland locations. And they make house calls. 888-416-2701 or pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS. When it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We'll start on the Kennedy inbound. Bad accident between Central and Montrose, being shoved out of your way, but 70 minutes in from O'Hare into the Burns Circle. Outbound Eisenhower accident right shoulder between Costner and Des Plaines Avenue. I-55 is completely shut down both directions, north and southbound, right around Lorenzo Road due to live wires still crossing the roadway from last night's storms. Also from last night's storms, DuSable Lakeshore Drive southbound between Lawrence and Belmont, 2 right lanes are blocked with high standing water. Vehicle fire has a right lane blocked eastbound on 88 between County Line and Watson. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Still more humid today, more clouds than sun, but much cooler. A high only about 86. Partly cloudy and 68 overnight. Partly sunny and 70 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We're going to get your calls in just a minute, but did want to introduce a couple of special guests we have in studio. Joe and Sue Morgan, who hail from leafy Elmhurst, the cobblestone streets of Elmhurst. They bought the silent auction prize to be here, see how this magic happens on this show, to support the Caring Network, which is pregnancy care centers.
Great, and actually, it was a magic box.
Yes.
That you bid on?
Yes.
So.
Oh, magic box.
A magic box. So it was a surprise. So you didn't know what was inside the box. What's in the box?
Well, we know it was
My
with a radio
severed head.
station, and I figured it was you.
Yeah.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
I figured
and you
it
bid
was
on it anyway.
So-
Joe, would you agree, though, that I am much more handsome in person than I appear online?
Yes, and your hair is much longer than I thought.
Well, we're going to get that cut while he's sleeping.
That's a bit
We're
of a
going to drug him
problem.
up and then
that's a bit
cut
of a-
off the Billy Ray Cyrus.
I got a
thing
little
you
bit
going.
of a hillbilly phase I'm going through, Joe. I'm trying to work out some things.
Bit
but,
of a mullet there you got.
Well, yeah. But I mean, that's, look, if John Daly can pull it off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you two
right?
are similar
John
strokes.
Daly fashion plate, similar body types.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Similar drinking habits, gambling, so forth. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Any topic you'd like to throw out that you demand be discussed? I mean, you did pay for this, right? You paid for this microphone in the infamous words of Reagan. No, you're good.
No, just really here to see how you do this, and just interested in seeing the two of you work together.
Yes, it is.
We listen to you all the time. We really
Well,
do.
we appreciate
that.
Yes,
Yes.
we really do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And don't call in today because you're sitting right here.
Right.
I do get up around 5 o'clock and I turn 560 on. And it's a half an hour of commercials.
Oh, boy. No,
half
you
an
have
hour.
to-
It's
that's
more
Yeah.
15 minutes of run up. I mean, 'cause it builds the suspense around the show opening. It's called building the drama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little
Getting
technique.
you ready for it.
And, waiting for Amy to arrive.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
that
right.
too. All right, let's take some calls. Wanted to get your reaction to our interviews with retired FBI supervisory agent James Gagliano, as well as Mike Olson, retired Secret Service agent. Obviously, there's still a lot more questions and answers. But even the sort of the middling statements coming from these agencies so far, and of course the ridiculous statement from Ali Mayorkas, he doesn't make anything but, about his 100% confidence in the Secret Service director and the Secret Service. I don't know. I'm unsatisfied. I understand these guys have allegiance to the agencies they work for, and I understand they have expertise that we don't have, and they're seeing angles that we're not seeing. They have experiences that we don't have. But they're sort of commonsensical things that I think you just can't get around, and I think they need to be addressed sooner rather than later. And the big one is, well, a part of what you said, I think, which is Trump could have been pulled off the stage. That was one judgment call. And the other judgment call is 30 minutes of watching somebody who you knew was doing things that were suspect, and then you lose track of him, even though this is the building in question is a staging area for local law enforcement, and you have local law enforcement as well as Secret Service counter snipers, as well as rally goers who are all seeing the same thing.
Right.
And nobody acts.
It's just infuriating. And they almost killed our president. Or not they, he, the shooter did.
Sean and Darien, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I mean, as I listened to that, all he did was make excuses the whole time, even though he said he wasn't making excuses for it. It was actually pathetic. I mean, you have a fireman that lost his life because they didn't take out the shooter. Come on. I mean, my God. If they're worried, and he's talking about liability, if you're worried about the liability, then don't be in that job. And the final point is that it's a DEI crap too, right? 30% of hirees got to be women and stuff. It's a shame, and it's a failure on the highest level, and we should be critical of them. Thank you.
Well, and again, notice last night there were no female Secret Service agents around Trump at any point in time in the evening.
Just on the matter of Corey Comparator, I don't want to forget him. His wife says, Helen, does not blame. She said she does not blame Biden for what happened to her husband, but didn't want to talk to him.
You reached out to her?
Yes. Corey's final words, according to her, get down. He's my hero. He just said, get down. That was the last thing he said. He was a simple man, but he put his wife and kids first all the time. I did nothing there. I didn't lift a finger. He did everything. I didn't talk to Biden. I didn't want to talk to him. I don't have any ill will towards Joe Biden. I'm not one of those people that gets involved in politics. I support Trump. That's who I'm voting for, but I don't have ill will towards Biden. He didn't do anything bad to my husband. A 20-year-old despicable kid did. Yeah, well, that's a pretty powerful and mature perspective, given what happened to her family.
And they quickly, they say we need a motive. Motive? He didn't like Trump, and he tried to kill him.
Well, that's a possible motive. I said this with Fitzgerald. Maybe it was on my Fitzgerald and Ray Carr. These are two retired special agents on my podcast, which will pop today. But, let's remember, too, I mean, I'm all for getting to the bottom of this and going where the evidence leads and making some, logical leaps, at least so long as they have some basis in logic. But, I mean, you don't exactly have a handle on who you're dealing with here. We don't. And you think about Reagan and James Hinckley, and, part of the motivation for Hinckley was because he had this, delusional fantasy obsession with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
So who could predict that?
Yeah, that's true.
So you just, somebody that would do something that is 5 standard deviations from sane, it's difficult to always know. Joe in East Dundee.
Yeah. Hey, gentlemen. Yeah, there are no excuses. That's what my boss has told me anytime I screwed up. Yeah, that's it. They need, Secret Service needs their feet held to the fire. They screwed up, and somebody needs to be fired over this stuff.
Thanks for the call, Joe. Yeah, what would be nice if you had somebody come forward and say, or provide the transcript that details it and say, this is what we were seeing. This is what we were thinking. You have the transcript of what we said. And here is the moment, or here's a couple of opportunities, couple of moments where we zigged when we should have zagged. This was
take accountability.
Yeah, it's just like, that's why I say that it was a failure. It's like sort of like general accountability, so nobody specifically has to be held accountable. That's the little two-step that they do. They do it all the time. And I'm talking about government, generally. Joe in Skokie.
Hey, good morning. Another Joe. Yeah, just since now, Republicans are taking the lead in saying we need to tone down the rhetoric, do you think it'd be a good time for Republicans to actually stop calling Obama a terrorist and that he started ISIS, and that Hillary Clinton actively is running a child sex trafficking ring?
Yeah, I don't support hysterical rhetoric. But the rhetoric is not the proximate cause of political violence. generally, the silly conspiracy theories, the as I've said before, the belligerent rhetoric in one direction. This is the both sides do it, and you've got an example of somebody somebody throwing a temper tantrum and behaving boorishly and saying absurd things, and then I'm going to counter with an example. It completely misses the point, and it trivializes what happened Saturday. That's not this. As I said yesterday, go back to the first presidential elections in American history. Go back through the last 250 years of American politics and the accusations that are hurled back and forth and the name calling that goes back and forth. Let's not be silly about language for the purposes of toning it down. Everything's toning it down before I turn around and ratchet it up, which is exactly what you heard from Biden last night with Lester Holt. And as ridiculous as it is to say Trump is worse than Hitler and Mussolini, like Senator Claire McCaskill did, all the ridiculous things that Dick Durbin says in a room temperature tone of voice. The last thing I want to do is get into the left's business, the censorious left's business of making speech and thought crimes. You're not allowed to say these things about public officials. You should be able to say almost anything about a public official short of making a specific threat that crosses the line into behavior, into action, crosses the line of your free speech rights. Your free speech rights stop at somebody else's nose, as the saying goes. But this school marm bull jive, particularly from the left, but just in general, Biden is not responsible for the assassination attempt because he said put Trump in the bullseye. Okay. And Trump is not the primary purveyor of political violence because he says to some, guy creating a spectacle at one of his rally, take him out of here, go home to mommy, as he did many times. I mean, all this stuff. Now we're going to be so sensitive and everything is overheated and now everything needs to be toned down. And then this will pass and we'll go right back to where we were. The language police thing is completely unpersuasive to me. Completely. Mike in Deerfield.
Yeah, I don't like hearing that the Secret Service fell down on their job. That kid was there given his God-given American right to hold a high-powered velocity military-style rifle in America, and he didn't do a thing wrong until he shot at the president, and then they took him out.
Yeah, you're hilarious, Mike. You're really funny. Is that what you're trying to do?
It's all about
is that what you're trying to do?
Policy, right?
Is it trying? Yeah, it is. It is about policy, Mike. And Mike, if you listen to Jim Fitzgerald, retired FBI special agent, yesterday, talk about his time at Quantico, the first time he met a president live, George W. Bush, when he dedicated the crime lab for the FBI at Quantico, and the Secret Service had control of the event because it's the president of the United States that's coming. The FBI agents at their crime lab were not allowed to bring weapons into the event where George W. Bush was dedicating the Quantico crime lab. Just as you well know, there are metal detectors entering the Trump rallies. The guns were not allowed to be on the grounds. Secret Service's sweeps to make sure people are not armed. So, you have God-given rights and time, manner, place restrictions, as you well know. So it's not cute. It's not insightful. You're not clever. You're just a douchebag. Thanks for calling, Mike. Philip in Concordia, Missouri.
Hello, Dan.
Hey.
Hey, the last caller. That's what's wrong with America. I wanted to say there is no level of incompetence. Donald Trump has proven that with his money and charisma, he could draw crowds in outside rallies. And especially with the shooter at the highest vantage point of a clear shot. So that's why I called in. I think there's no level of incompetence. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thanks, Philip. Appreciate it. Bill and Elgin.
Hello.
Hey, Bill.
Hi. Yeah, actually, I got a theory maybe possibly to look into why the shooter was a registered Republican. I'm going back to 22 between Oz and McCormick for the primary and how crossovers were, promoted because they wanted Oz because he was easier to beat. And so I'm wondering if that's why possibly he might have been a registered Republican. I just wanted to float that idea out there for you.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, you want to vote if you vote in the other party's primary because you want the weakest candidate. There was some suggestion that he registered Republican so he could vote for Nikki Haley against Trump because he doesn't like Trump. We don't know this. These are just suppositions, possible. Frank, Tinley Park.
Yeah, I saw the crowd waving and pointing, trying to get the attention of the stage. And that your last guest said it, that technology with the radios was bouncing off each other. Just imagine if one policeman had an old-fashioned police whistle, those kind that the sound is specific. It's like a danger sound.
Yeah.
Everybody on that stage would have recognized it and got down. Maybe.
That's interesting, right? Yeah. Too much technology. Yeah, interesting.
Go back to old school ways.
Analog response to an analog threat, maybe.
I still just don't know why they didn't cover him up, Secret Service, or just take him off stage until the threat was eliminated.
Well, again, this is where you need to get an understanding of what was communicated to whom. Tony and Palatine.
Hey, Dan and Amy. I'm a retired 35 veteran police department, retired. Anyway, my thought is that the local police had the outer perimeter and the CIA sniper was unable to contact who he may have thought was a police officer on that roof as a sniper and failed to take the shot until that shot was fired by the sniper and they took him out. Like the gentleman you had earlier said, communication between local and federal is sometimes difficult, and there's supposed to be a way for them to communicate, but sometimes that breaks down.
Thanks for the call, Tony. Anyway. Appreciate it.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
My name is Dr. Dave Anspaugh. I have co-authored a wellness textbook, which was the #1 bestseller. And I do about anything that I want to do. I still take care of my own lawn, and I go to the health club. We'll go 2-3 miles on the treadmill there. I've been taking Balance of Nature about 6 years. It has convinced me that it's a great product. I enjoy playing golf. I will go out there and go down to the green and go back and do it once or twice more. Seems like being retired, I've got more going on than I did when I was actually working. I stay active. I do about anything I want to do. As long as I'm breathing the air, I'm going to be taking Balance of Nature.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off with your first set as a preferred customer. While supplies last, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. This week is your last chance to claim this offer by using discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, let's talk some other security issues, some other national security issues. We'll do that with Mark Morgan, former Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, who is in Milwaukee for the convention. Mark Morgan joins us at 8:08.
But first, let's stop into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Tornadoes and severe storms sweep through the Chicago area. CPD Superintendent Snelling remains confident in the security plan for the DNC. 2 men are charged in a deadly shooting at a Waukegan Metro parking lot. Mike Madigan's lawyers are calling for some charges to be dismissed. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Former President Trump, once again the Republican nominee. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The love for Donald Trump is amazing. All the speeches last night, they were all looking at him. They were thankful for him. They were chanting, fight, fight, fight.
His son Eric Trump on Fox and Friends after his father's first public appearance at the convention last night since the assassination attempt with a bandage on his right ear.
Think about if that bullet was an inch over and what that, the entire world would have seen that image forever.
The House lawmakers will get a briefing from the Secret Service today on the assassination attempt. Judiciary Committee Chair, Republican Jim Jordan, tells Fox Business.
The agents who surrounded President Trump, God bless them for doing what they did at that intense moment. But the problem was, of course, what happened prior, what didn't happen prior. Why weren't those building tops secured like they should have been?
Fox's Jonathan Saries in Butler, Pennsylvania, outside the building from where the gunman opened fire at Saturday's rally.
In an ABC News interview, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle confirmed that local police were inside the building, not on the rooftop. A law enforcement source tells Fox News Digital a local cop spotted a suspicious man carrying a rangefinder and reported it to state police about 30 minutes before the shooting, and citizens called for police when they noticed the gunman on the rooftop.
President Biden was asked by NBC News' Lester Holt.
Has this shooting changed the trajectory of this race?
I don't know, and you don't know either.
The president also said he made a mistake when he said before the shooting they need to put the former president in a bullseye. The president says he meant they want to focus on the Trump agenda and his threats to democracy now. When former President Trump appeared at the convention, he stood next to his new running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, who had been anti-Trump back in 2016. He tells Fox's Hannity.
I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans.
We just got an economic update. Retail sales unchanged last month from May, but that is better than the sales decline predicted. America's listening to Fox News.
70 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. And good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Topping our news this morning, storm damage throughout the Chicago area, keeping cleanup crews busy after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area. National Weather Service investigating reports that several tornadoes touched down last night, including the far western suburbs. Tornadoes were also reported at O'Hare and Midway airports. As of last night, more than 300,000 ComEd customers were without power, but this morning that number has been reduced to around 200,000. One person was killed when strong storms sent a tree into a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. So far, Indiana State Police are not confirming an identity. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling remains confident in his security plan for next month's Democrat National Convention following the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania.
Everything, all of the venues that we can protect, but we also want to make sure that we keep the city safe as a whole.
And attorneys for indicted former Illinois House Speaker Democrat Michael Madigan believe more than a dozen charges against him should be dropped. In a new filing, they quote the U.S. Supreme Court ruling last month that the federal bribery statute does not ban gratuities to public officials. The news, a service of Waukegan Roofing. For commercial roofing, replace or repair, contact the company that has been replacing and repairing commercial roofs in Chicagoland since 1914 and shares your values. WaukeganRoofing.com. Emergencies are welcome. It's 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat. It is a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Bank of America's earnings and revenue are better than expected, and it's raising its dividend. The stock is higher. The big bank made more from managing investments and less from consumer banking. Shares are up 1%. PNC Financial's earnings were upbeat. Its revenue topped expectations, though it is being more cautious about this year. The Amazon Prime Day sale's underway. It ends tomorrow night. Target and Walmart launched their summer sales last week, though they're still advertising deals on their websites. Amazon shares are higher. Activist investor Starboard Value has purchased a stake in online dating company Match Group, parent company of Tinder and Hinge. Starboard is pushing for a possible sale if a turnaround of the business isn't successful. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This week, the eyes of the nation will turn to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. At AM 560, The Answer will provide gavel-to-gavel coverage each night, beginning at 7 p.m., presented by 120 Life. Hear all of the speeches, and then instant analysis from AM 560's Bruce DeMont, Jeannie Ives, and John Anthony. And they'll be taking your calls with your reaction. Don't miss a moment as the Republicans officially nominate Donald Trump right here on your election station. AM 560, The Answer.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
Did you know that high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for mortality? In fact, 1 in 2 adults have high blood pressure. That's a 50-50 chance you are a walking time bomb. But you, not Big Pharma, can take control of your blood pressure. Don't wait before it's too late. With 120 Life. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting super fruit juices that can actually help lower your blood pressure. 120 Life is formulated with ingredients that have been shown to naturally help control high blood pressure and are endorsed by thousands of health professionals. You can try it yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial pack. Just go to 120life.com and use the code LIBERTY to save 15% and receive free shipping. They're so sure that 120 Life can noticeably lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks that they'll give you your money back if you're not completely satisfied. So you have nothing to lose but those high blood pressure numbers. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. And remember to use code LIBERTY to save 15%. This is serious. This is your life we're talking about. 120 Life can help.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, their great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now to start saving now on your cell phone plan. NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who's just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
8:08 and a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. Crosscom Public Adjusters The Kennedy, solid and slow between Central and Montrose due to an accident 90 minutes in, O'Hare into the circle. Outbound accident right shoulder between Laramie and Des Plaines Avenue. I-55 remains shut down, north and southbound, right around Lorenzo Road. The roadway, by the way, expected to be closed for the next 12 to 24 hours. So if you're traveling north and southbound on I-55, expect major delays or find an alternative route for the next day. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Here's Steve Williams.
It'll be humid today, more clouds than sun. The high today 86. Partly cloudy, humid night tonight, low 68. Some sun, breezy day tomorrow, the high at 79. And then mostly sunny, breezy on Thursday, the high at 75. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
70 at O'Hare, 71 at Midway, 70 in Joliet. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. There are some substantive issues that need to be taken up, policy issues, and will be, I'm sure, throughout the course of the RNC this week. One of them includes border security. We certainly haven't forgotten about that.
Yeah, day two is focusing on immigration, and Nikki Haley will be speaking as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know we had Ali Mayorkas have to divide his time because he had to step up to the podium and repeat the stock line that he has 100% confidence in Secret Service and the Secret Service director after the abject failure on Saturday. Just as he repeats lines that you have to be, to borrow a Rick Wilson phrase, a credulous rube to believe all the time about border security and what he is and is not doing as DHS secretary. Perhaps the most incompetent member of Joe Biden's cabinet, and that's saying something. There's a lot of competition for that title. We have these updates, too, which people may not be paying attention to. I know Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, says the Biden administration has been flying migrants from California to Texas. You send them to sanctuary jurisdictions, and then we're going to send them back, courtesy of federal taxpayers. The flights, which have been operating every week, cost an estimated $80,000 a flight, and are there are pictures of migrants in shackles boarding the planes, which are operated by a contractor. This is San Diego, the latest district along the border that has been overrun by persons entering the country illegally at the behest of this administration. We had kids in cages, now we got migrants in shackles. And when they do get here illegally, no need to bother with a lot of the bureaucracy and do the sort of the in-person check-ins and stuff. Just move about the country freely. The Biden administration is preparing to eliminate in-person check-ins for migrants, read illegal immigrants, and replace them with an app. They've got an app for that, just like they have an app for you to come here illegally. The app, which is set to launch soon in the form of a pilot program in select cities, please let it be Chicago, will let millions of illegal immigrants released into the U.S. await their asylum proceedings with a check-in. They can check in with immigration officials on a phone or a computer. So there's no need to, present yourself and, there's all this uncomfortable vetting. Just, we got an Obama phone you can use to check in as to your status with respect to asylum proceedings that you're not going to show up for anyway. So this is going swimmingly. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Mark Morgan, former U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, who is in Milwaukee for the RNC. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan and Amy, thanks for having me. And I tell you, every single time when I come on with you guys, I listen to your monologue. I think, you know what, you really don't need me because you just said everything that was spot on. You said it better than I could have. I couldn't agree more with everything you just said.
Well, I mean, what about these flights from California to Texas with migrants being shackled?
Why are they shackled?
Well, why are they shackled? Yeah, these
What
are
did they do?
These are Biden buddies. These are our friends. These are our neighbors. These are new arrivals. It sounds like maybe some of them are dangerous or something.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, look, it's hard not to laugh sometimes at just the lunacy that's happening, right? And think about it. They are shackled for a reason. And so I haven't sourced out this specific story yet, but more than likely what it is, in the San Diego sector, they're overwhelmed. They don't have enough resources to process the thousands of illegal aliens that are coming every single day. So what they do is they'll put them on a plane and fly them to other sectors to help process. Well, since they haven't been processed yet, we don't know how they are, who they are. They haven't been vetted. So you're right. We don't know if they are criminals, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, aggravated felons. So that's why they're being shackled and not. But to your point, right, we shouldn't be having this conversation because they should not be allowed into the United States. This is ridiculous. We have a policy under this administration that is incentivizing and encouraging individuals to illegally enter this country because here's why. It's not complicated. You and I, we've talked about it before. Is if you tell the entire world, if you make it to our border, and even if we apprehend you, we're going to release you in the United States, never to be heard from again. Wait for it. Shocker. They're going to come.
Well, and our eyes have kind of been taken off the border issue because of, obviously the assassination attempt and other things that are going on. But how is Biden's executive order working? Is it stopping the flow of people coming to this country illegally?
No, and I'm so glad you asked that because your comments about Secretary Mayorkas, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is a guy that says he has confidence in the Secret Service who's overseeing an assassination attempt on our president. This is the same secretary that for 3.5 years have said there's nothing to see at our borders, that our borders are secure, there's no crisis. I mean, I say all the time, how do we know Secretary Mayorkas is lying when his lips are moving, right? I mean, it's just, I'm so tired. And I agree. I go a step further. I actually refer to Secretary Mayorkas not as just the most incompetent, but also the most dangerous man in this administration. And Amy, to your point, look, it's a big lie. We keep hearing how the numbers have gone down. For everybody listening, here's the shell game. They're only talking about the southwest border, and they're only talking about those that illegally enter in between the ports of entry. What they're not being honest with the American people about is they have simply diverted thousands that used to illegally entry to the land ports of entry. At the land ports of entry at the southwest border, they've allowed in an additional 450% of otherwise inadmissibles. And then we know, you've talked about it, the CBP One app, the abuse of the parole program. They're flying in 30,000 every single month, what we believe is through an unlawful program. And then the numbers, they don't even count the numbers at the northern border, which we've also seen a 2,000% increase in some of the sectors. And finally, what they don't count is the gotaways. We've seen an almost 600% in known gotaways under this Biden administration, yet they do not include any of that when they're quoting, the numbers have gone down. It's a big lie. It's a shell game.
Yeah, it's interesting, too. There was a story about Springfield, Ohio, if I'm remembering correctly, that has this influx, like 15,000 Haitian migrants over the last 24 months in a town of 50,000 people. And they're talking about, you had the mayor and you had the the city manager on, I think it was Fox, talking about how, this is clearly putting a strain on public resources, law enforcement, housing, the local schools, and so forth. I just wonder, maybe, they can they sort of, kind of, I guess, can assimilate without too much notoriety when you're talking even about 50 or 100,000 in places like Chicago and New York. But maybe when it starts to get to smaller suburban communities like what that community in Ohio is dealing with, maybe that will start to wake some more people up who, even people on the left, who are the same ones that are welcoming new migrants only to send them, like in places here, welcoming new migrants in the suburbs. Now get the hell out of here and go to Chicago. Maybe that's what we need is Greg Abbott and to a lesser extent DeSantis, to be sending migrants directly to smaller suburban communities so that they feel the sort of impact that, next door that they're not feeling at present.
No, look, your point is spot on. Or maybe elite areas like Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, that you're exactly right. That's the point. And I've been saying for a very long time, part of the reason why we've had the awakening and the increased awareness across the country is because this administration has overplayed their hands. They've created a degree and magnitude of chaos and lawlessness on our borders that anyone being intellectually honest, regardless of you're on the right or left, can't ignore this. But here's the problem. Even in Ohio and the first couple of years in New York when they were screaming, hey, we're being overwhelmed, is that there still isn't call for meaningful solutions, meaning there isn't calls for the Biden administration to stop their open border policies, to secure the border, to stop releasing illegal aliens. It's just they're just calling for more U.S. taxpayer dollars to actually manage the crisis after it's already here. I mean, that's what Eric, the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, has been doing for years. He hasn't directly called out Biden, and he hasn't called to stop releasing illegal aliens in the United States.
Right.
He's just said, hey, stop sending
more
them
money
to New York. And, oh, by the way, give me more money to manage those you've already released. That's not the solution.
Same thing here with Brandon Johnson and Pritzker, of course.
Exactly.
So the interaction between Department of Homeland Security and the migrants, we were talking a bit earlier in the program with election lawyer from the Heritage Foundation, Hans von Spakovsky. The concern about these federal agencies interacting with all these people that have been invited to enter illegally and stay, and then transitioning them to loyal voters for Biden come November. What kind of color can you provide on that? What do you know about that, or have concerns you have, if nothing else?
What specifically with what?
With federal agents, federal employees, like for Department of Homeland Security, essentially doing a voter registration and ultimately a GOTV program for illegals that they allow into this country.
Yes, exactly. Hans he's a great colleague. But here's my response to this, Dan, is just like so many things with the border. It's common sense, right? You can't tell me that when you flood our country with millions of illegal aliens, and we know for a fact that there are loopholes in our federal system with respect to being able to prevent illegal aliens from voting. And when you have issues like this right now that you're discussing, it just defies common sense and logic that we are not acknowledging and agreeing with that there is a potential for illegal aliens to unlawfully vote. I mean, it just doesn't pass the straight face test. Now, to what degree and to what magnitude, that's the unknown. But I tell you, in Arizona, the election was only lost by 10,000 votes. In Georgia, I think it was 12,000. So even if less than half of 1% illegally vote, that could absolutely change the outcome of the election.
But is there any way to get to the known? I know we sort of dance around this. You're right. It is common sense to recognize what the threat is. But we can't. There's no way to understand what these agencies are or are not doing in this direction.
I think we can if we had a legitimate, honest, transparent administration. But look, I hate to say that as American, but that's just a fact. We've seen this for 3.5 years. We're not going to get that transparency from this administration, and they're not going to allow that transparency to happen to get to those kind of questions. I mean, think about this. We were trying to pass a bill that was strengthening the ability to identify illegal aliens from voting and preventing that, and yet Democrats vote against it. That's where we're at right now.
Mark Morgan, former U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, who is in Milwaukee for the RNC. Mark, enjoy the festivities. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you both.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard Rumpke's Garage commercials on AM 560, and now they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Rumpke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Remke's Garage, your #1 dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Remke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. Remke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to remkesgarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Remkes, REMKES, garage.com.
All right, when you're in chronic pain, you're miserable. And guess what? So are the people around you. So stop being in pain and do something about it. Call our good friends at QC Kinetics. You don't have to suffer any longer. And non-surgical joint pain relief is here. Whether you have arthritic pain in your joints, your knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, or if it's from an injury, QC Kinetics can help without invasive surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Think about it. When you cut your hand, eventually your body heals itself. So let's call them right now because they're under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup. He's a pioneer in regenerative medicine. They can walk you through the process, explain how it works. And guess what? They have new clinics in Gurnee and Crystal Lake, and they're open on Saturdays. So get all the information with a free consultation. Call this number. Do it today. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. Again, 312-809-5955.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers. This one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
Because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at waukeganroofing.com. waukeganroofing.com.
Fruit and vegetable ingredients have never been more convenient.
It's easy for me to recommend Balance of Nature. It's so simple. It's amazing getting the fruits and vegetables ingredients in 3 red and 3 green capsules.
I take Balance of Nature. I think it's a good product. It's convenient. It's a way to start off with a plus. I can do little capsules in the morning and I'm off to work, you know.
I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I really am happy that I came across it. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off with your first set as a preferred customer. While supplies last, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. This week is your last chance to claim this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. Summer is here, which is the ideal time to let the sunshine in and brighten up the house. Make those rooms that may appear small, dark, or dingy look better and bigger with larger windows or patio doors. Our highly skilled installers can enlarge openings if your space allows. For decades, Woodland has been transforming living spaces with Marvin windows, featuring styles ranging from modern to traditional. Marvin replacement windows and doors can also bring your backyard right into your living space. Ask us about connecting the inside to the outside. Since 1969, our professional services, along with the best products and installation, are why we are proud of our great online reviews. Need new windows now? Buy now, pay later with 0% financing for 18 months. Terms and conditions apply. Visit woodlandwindows.com and schedule an appointment today. That's woodlandwindows.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
So General Secretary Joe did that sit-down with Lester Holt yesterday, and all of this, brush himself off and get back on that horse. He's on the horse, man.
Is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events, met thousands of people, overwhelming crowds, a lot happening. I'm on the horse. What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people that I have command of all my faculties, that I don't need notes, I don't need teleprompter. I can go out and answer any questions at all. And I stood there.
He's on the horse, buckaroo.
Yeah, he was
Come on,
very
pal.
cantankerous with Lester Holt, pushing back and being defensive and lying. And
Let me tell you something that's not a good position to be in if you're a candidate for high office. When you have to go out and demonstrate that you're in command of your faculties, that is in doubt, and that you say that out loud. That is not a particularly strong position, but okay.
Not a strong leader. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll check in on today's activities at the RNC with Republican National Committee spokeswoman Elizabeth Pipko at 8:38.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
8:31. Former President Donald Trump has made his first public appearance since an assassination attempt on Saturday, and it came during a whirlwind day at the RNC. Not only did he secure his party's nomination Monday, he tapped Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate. Ohio Republican delegate and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy says Vance will be a great vice president to Donald Trump if the GOP ticket wins in November.
He's a guy who actually means what he says, which, as strange as that sounds, is actually rare in American politics.
Trump made a brief appearance late in the evening, entering the venue to applause from the crowd with a bandage on his ear, the ear that was grazed by a bullet during a rally in Pennsylvania. President Biden will not debate Donald Trump anytime soon. In an interview with NBC News, he was asked if there will be a debate before their next scheduled one in September, given his shaky performance last time.
I'm going to debate him when we agreed to debate, and I'm going to debate him in September.
And the president went on to say he should not have said bullseye when discussing Donald Trump.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on him.
In an interview with NBC News following the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, Biden was asked about telling donors, "We're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in a, quote, bullseye," end quote. The FBI says their search of the home of would-be assassin Thomas Crooks is complete. The Bureau finished their search on Monday of the 3 others wounded in that attempted assassination on Donald Trump. 1 was killed and 2 were rushed to the hospital in critical condition. AM 560 will have complete coverage, gavel to gavel, of the action at the RNC tonight, beginning at 7 p.m. Cleanup crews are busy this morning after multiple suspected tornadoes and severe storms swept through the Chicago area. National Weather Service investigating reports of several tornadoes. Tornadoes were reported at both O'Hare and Midway airports for the first time ever. As of last night, about 240,000 ComEd customers were without power. At last check this morning, we're down to about 203,000 without power. And one person was killed when the storms sent a tree onto a home in Cedar Lake, Indiana. Indiana State Police did not confirm an identity. The Midsummer Classic tonight. Baseball will see the south side represented by Garrett Crochet and the north side by Shota Imanaga. Bulls will try to get back in the win column when they take on the Pistons in NBA Summer League action in Vegas. The news is a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation with hot air roasting locally and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Online at papanicholascoffee.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk wants early numbers.
So the thing we have to emphasize is how many voters are we registering, how many ballots are we chasing, and are we able to dominate in voting month? Election day is the last day of voting. The Democrats have run up the score in 40 days before Election day. We are going to do our part to try to close that gap.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're in chronic pain, you're miserable to be around, and so are the people who have to watch you suffer. So stop it. Do something about it. Now's the time to be proactive and take care of yourself. And there's another solution other than surgery or drugs. Call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, they have a cutting-edge treatment that revitalizes your joints with your body's own healing process. So if you have arthritis or if you're in pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back due to an injury, you need to call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation and get your life and mobility back. You know, I've been to one of their clinics. I met a few of their customers. They were smiling from ear to ear, so happy to have their mobility back, pain-free, without surgery. They have locations all across the Chicagoland area, including new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Call for a free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
When I came across Balance of Nature, I knew this is the product for me because it just smelled real. Balance of Nature has fruits and vegetables in the ingredients. With Balance of Nature, I feel great.
Hi, my name is Tina, and I love playing music. I really love my music. I love it because it makes me feel happy, puts me in another world. It's awesome. I started taking Balance of Nature 2 years ago. I love Balance of Nature. It makes me feel great.
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. This week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
8:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is service of Allstate. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate. The Kennedy inbound 95 minutes from O'Hare into the Circle. Part of that problem, an accident inbound between Central and Montrose. Ike, accident, 3 left lane blocked. It's on the outbound side, westbound between the Tri-State and York Road. That's the Eisenhower outbound. I-55 northbound, you're delayed from Lorenzo Road up to the site where electric wires cross both the northbound and southbound stretches of I-55. It is expected to be shut down for the next 12 to 24 hours. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Humid this morning, more clouds than sun, high 87. Tonight, partly cloudy, humid, low 68. Beautiful day tomorrow, breezy and some sun, a high near 80. Partly sunny and 71 right now. Your next news update is at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So it was an eventful day one at the RNC, of course, not just because of the unprecedented moment where President Trump entered the arena with the bandage on his ear to the throngs of loyalists applauding him, as they should.
Yeah, but think about it, too. I mean, he has bruises, too, from the Secret Service taking him down. He had mentioned that he has severe bruising on his arms and legs because he was tackled so hard that he
went
fell
down,
out of his shoes.
He went down,
and then they protected him. That's their job. But But he had the fortitude and strength to get out there. And I'm telling you, last night he looked like he was a changed man. He seemed humble. He had tears in his eyes. And so did Don Trump Jr., and so did most of us that were watching. And I watched it twice because it was so moving, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like that in our lifetime.
Well, let's hope not, because we don't want to see anybody with a near-death experience that President Trump went through. The other highlights last night, Amber Rose, who's a model and actress and influencer and such.
Kanye West's ex-girlfriend.
Interesting that she channeled Barry Goldwater. Probably didn't know it, but she did. When she was talking about prices at the pump, prices at the grocery store, Bidenflation.
Inflation is out of control. And you know in your heart it was not like this under Donald Trump.
You know in your heart he's right.
My message to you tonight comes from a humble place. The left told me to hate Trump, and even worse, to hate the other side, the people who support him. When you cut through the lies, you realize the truth. American families were better when Donald Trump was president.
Yeah, I don't know who had the bigger conversion story, Amber Rose or J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate.
Yeah, because he explained, he called Trump at some point in time American Hitler, and that he was unfit to be in the Oval Office. And he was on with Hannity and explained his change of heart.
I was certainly skeptical of Donald Trump in 2016, but President Trump was a great president, and he changed my mind. I think he changed the minds of a lot of Americans because, again, he delivered that peace and prosperity. If you go back to what I thought in 2016, another thing that was going on, Sean, is I bought into the media's lies and distortions. I bought into this idea that somehow he was going to be so different, a terrible threat to democracy. It was a joke. Joe Biden is the one who's trying to throw his political opposition in jail. Joe Biden is the one who's trying to undermine American law and order. President Trump did a really good job. And I actually think it's a good thing when you see somebody, you were wrong about him, you ought to admit the mistake and admit that you were wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
Good enough for me.
2016, he was a snot-nosed 31-year-old kid hanging around with Glenn Close and Amy Adams. He was probably a little starstruck, falling for their line of bull jive, and now he's all grown up. So that works. One other moment last night that was interesting. I mean, this whole speech was, but just his presence was. I'm talking about Sean O'Brien. I thought there was going to be a cage match between him and Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin, which I would have enjoyed. But instead, it was just Sean O'Brien, the Teamsters president, saying he was happy to be invited. He's got a good relationship with J.D. Vance, by the way. And, they know no political affiliation, so he says Teamsters is just whatever's good for the American worker, and he had this to say about Trump.
Now, you can have whatever opinion you want, but one thing is clear. President Trump is a candidate who is not afraid of hearing from new, loud, and often critical voices. And I think we all can agree, whether people like him or they don't like him, in light of what happened to him on Saturday, he has proven to be one tough SOB.
Yeah, and I gotta say, for all this talk about J.D. Vance, it's just an appeal to the base and so on and so forth. Boy, Amber Rose and Sean O'Brien, and you're telling me that Trump is not broadening the coalition? I think that's hard to square. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined by Elizabeth Pipko. She's the Republican National Committee spokeswoman. Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, off to a pretty rousing start yesterday, particularly with these non-traditional featured speakers like Amber and Sean, huh?
Definitely. You mentioned Donald Trump kind of making sure that he has more people in the coalition going into this election, and I think that's obvious, right? That's kind of what's going on. J.D. Vance is a great representation of people changing their minds and ending up big fans of President Trump, the work he did when he was president and the work that he will most likely do when he gets back into the White House next year. So it is an exciting time. It's a very moving moment in this country, looking at where we are, looking at what happened on Saturday, looking at the hope that a lot of people have for the future. And I don't think a lot of us realize it, but we are truly living through history right now.
What was it like last night to be there when Trump, I know he didn't speak, but the fact that he came in to the RNC convention and just walk us through that and what it was like.
Yeah, so people actually didn't know if he was going to come out last night or not. People did not expect him to come out. It was quite a surprise for a lot of people, and I think no one really knew what to expect in general because of what happened on Saturday, right? Not everyone gets to see an assassination attempt on a former president in their lifetime, so we're all kind of changed in a way because of it, and we all are sitting and wondering how President Trump has changed as well because, again, what he faced is something none of us can understand, none of us can comprehend, and I'm not even sure if he's fully understood it just yet. He said the other day he should not be here, right? He realizes that had he not tilted his head, he might not still be on this earth with all of us. So it's an incredible time for all of us, and sitting there last night with him walking out with his ear bandaged, coming out, showing the American people and the world how strong he is and how strong we all are as a nation, staring down evil always. It's kind of what we're known for in America, and coming out on top. It was incredibly inspiring, moving. I definitely cried quite a bit, and I'm sure I wasn't alone crying there in the arena.
I was with you, sister.
So the D.C. Press Corps has been doing their best to sort of de-emphasize the failed assassination attempt and sort of treat it as just another event in the political news cycle, focusing on everybody's rhetoric. Both sides need to cool it off and tone it down. And even some outlets like Axios going so far as to say essentially that Trump is responsible for the failed assassination attempt on him because he is a purveyor of belligerent political rhetoric and so forth. And now, and now that everybody's off of their timeout, like Morning Joe is back, they're allowed to broadcast again today. So their timeouts, they put their carpet squares away and they get to throw their temper tantrums again on TV as they do daily. What is the sort of the approach from a comms perspective of the RNC and of the Trump campaign? I know he's reworked his speech for Thursday, and it's going to be an appeal for national unity after the events of this weekend. But do you just relegate all of the Axios, Morning Joe, Joy Reid business to white noise and pay it no mind and focus on your own messaging? Or do you think that this back and forth about who is using the most incendiary rhetoric is something that needs to be engaged?
Well, look, it's a good question because when we speak, right, when I speak, when President Trump speaks, we're not speaking to MSNBC. We're speaking to the American people. And I think the response to what happened on Saturday is up to them. It's not up to Axios or MSNBC or anybody else. It's up to the American people who I know deep down, whether they support Donald Trump politically or not, are shaken by what happened on Saturday. Let's not forget, too, they can try to play down whatever happened in their own brains however much they want, but someone actually did lose their life on Saturday. We are so blessed and so happy Donald Trump is still with us, but We did lose an American on Saturday. Corey Comportor is his name. He woke up excited to go to a political event of a man that he supported, not realizing he would not come home that night. That is a tragedy in America. This event cannot be played down just because Donald Trump miraculously survived. That should never happen in this country. I am a daughter of immigrants from the former Soviet Union. These are the kind of things that happen at political events in third world countries around the world. This does not happen in our country, and everyone in the media should treat it as a tragedy that it is, not try to play it down because of any of their views on Donald Trump or their fears for losing this upcoming election. We should all be united in the fact that this should never happen in our country, and this is a tragedy no matter where you stand politically.
So what's on tap for tonight? Nikki Haley up tonight?
I mean, there's a lot of exciting speakers. We have the co-chair of the RNC, of course, Lara Trump, speaking as well. I believe she's the first family member to speak. So it's going to be a meaningful day here, like every day is, especially after Saturday. But it's also exciting because we're all just looking forward to unifying the country, unifying the party the best way that we can, and moving forward into this election and into next year in a Donald Trump administration. So I think it's just about bringing people together, realizing after Saturday that we are all changed as human beings and as Americans, and that the history of our country has changed, and it's on us to kind of work together to make sure that the future is changed as well.
And then today is your focus is on immigration. Are we going to be hearing from any angel moms or anyone who lost their child to somebody who was here illegally?
You will actually be hearing from some special people that were impacted in horrible ways. So I hope people are tuning in because, again, these become not political issues, but human issues, and we all mourn the same way, we all grieve the same way, we all hurt the same way. And I do truly believe, especially after the events of Saturday, that all Americans, left and right, will be tuning in and will agree on a majority of these issues because deep down, we all bleed the same way and we all hurt the same way. And I know that some of the speeches today will be incredibly impactful for those tuning in.
Elizabeth Pipko, she is the Republican National Committee spokeswoman. Elizabeth, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business, and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. But have you seen a picture of Elizabeth Pipko, by the way?
I have not.
She's
now I'm going to Google her.
She's a former bikini model. Who's now Republican National Committee spokesman. See, as I said, the Republican Party
reporting that you do, Dan, is really it's valiant.
Republican Party is becoming a lot cooler. I mean, I got it's not in Illinois, but
my kids
but
were
nationally, yeah.
Stoked that Amber Rose, like, Mom, this is a big deal, and I just didn't realize that it was such a big deal. Even Van Jones said she's more popular than all of us here sitting at the table. He said,
well, that's a low bar.
Well,
yeah, boy, that's Elizabeth Pipko, boy.
Okay, all right. Now stop it. Focus on your live read.
Well, Low T Center, Elizabeth Pipko could be the cure for that, too. If you're often tired, lacking motivation to drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, find out. Yeah,
I'm
saying?
Investigating what you investigated.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate somebody who's beautiful.
Exactly.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah, I know. It's not easy, let me tell you. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test. And with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results. And most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, they also offer a convenient, physician-monitored, self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month without the need to come in for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
If it's time for a new roof, your siding's looking old, you need new windows, gutters, or a reliable restoration company, trust me, AAA Roofing Contractors is who to call. They're the real deal. And speaking of deals, AAA offers a wide range of discounts, including military and healthcare provider discounts. And due to the recent storm, AAA Roofing Contractors is giving out free inspections in your neighborhood. The storm may have caused a lot of damage to your property, so please don't hesitate to reach out. AAA Roofing Contractors specializes specifically in insurance restoration claims. They're here to help you every step of the way so you get what you deserve. They value every shingle customer. In fact, they make sure clients are 100% satisfied. Schedule a free home improvement consultation now. Call 847-730-4026 or book online at arcroofinginc.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows. Family-owned AAA does it all and does it right and are insurance specialists. That's 847-730-4026. arcroofinginc.com.
All right. So I was telling you about my balance of nature, and I just took it. You saw me crack open my 6 capsules in water.
I did.
And you said your neighbor takes it.
Yes. Next door neighbor takes it, and some of our friends from our new church take it.
Well, why aren't you taking it, Joe?
I'm healthy.
Oh, well, you could be healthier.
My wife's a nutritionist, so I get all the vegetables and fruits that I absolutely need.
Right. So, but none of us have a lovely wife who's efficiently taking care of you with your nutrition needs, and that's me, and that's why we take Balance of Nature 6 capsules. You're getting 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. I love it. I have more energy. I swear by it, and people who take it love it as well. So your neighbor, she's a prime example. So if you're on the go, if you're eating fast food a lot and you don't have time to prepare fruits and vegetables, get Balance of Nature. And now's the time to do it. Why? Balance of Nature, half off your first set of fruits and veggies and free shipping. But you have to use the coupon code Chicago. Call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 50% off your first set of fruits and veggies. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago to save 50%. But hurry, this is a limited time offer while supplies last.
Do you just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, it's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Madam Giselle senses something in your future.
Is my boyfriend gonna propose?
It's a big storm.
Wait, we're gonna get in a fight?
No, a literal storm. Wind, heavy wind. I see a tree falling on your RV.
Oh, that's fine. I'm covered by Progressive. So, is my boyfriend there? Maybe on one knee?
The entire roof is crushed.
So, no ring.
Be prepared for the unexpected with Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Product features subject to policy terms and may not be available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, this was another fun part of the Lester Holt interview of General Secretary Joe. He's talking about the vitriol that's out there in the body politic. Can you stop greeting me when I come to town with the FJB signs, the Let's Go Brandon?
It's getting under his skin.
Mr. President, you've been in politics a very long time, so let's speak frankly. We're all adults here. Has this shooting changed the trajectory of this race?
I don't know, and you don't know either.
I don't know, but have you, something you've given thought to?
No, I've thought less about the trajectory of the case than two things.
Case?
One, what his health is. That was secure, number one. And number two, what happens from here on in terms of the kind of coverage that the president and vice president and former president and new vice president get in terms of, look.
What?
I've never seen a circumstance where you ride through certain rural areas of the country People have signs there, big Trump signs with middle sign saying F Biden, and a little kid standing there putting up his middle finger.
That's awesome.
That's the kind of stuff that is...
That's the town I want to live in.
Let's go,
Wherever
Brandon.
the middle kids
too.
are putting up their middle finger to President Biden. That's a place.
Is that the Fabulous Joe? I mean, if there was really kids out there giving them the Milwaukee skyline, I think we would have a picture of it and know about it.
Yeah.
Fabulous Joe, the victim now.
No,
Oh, poor me.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, doesn't like so. In other words, double down on the FJB signs if Biden comes to a community near you. That's basically the.
All right, thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Joe and Sue are visiting
Special
here today.
guests.
Special guests of our show today. Love
Thank you,
having
Elizabeth Pipko.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much,
That was
Elizabeth.
great. Great treat for the eyes. Thanks also to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Today we are going to have partly cloudy skies, a high in the mid-80s. It's now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Make America